The scene that appeared was of an abandoned construction site. Outside, there was even a sign that said no entry, but a group of people ignored the rule and still camped there. And then, very soon, they had to pay the price for that. A strange sandstorm appeared out of nowhere, covering the area around the tents. Not far from there, a young man was sitting on the ground, terrified. In front of his eyes, all his friends had become lifeless corpses, blood splattered everywhere. The sight was so horrifying that the young man burst into tears, his mouth twisted, unable to form words. A sandstorm. Why is there a sandstorm here? As soon as he finished speaking, a shadowy black figure with no visible face appeared behind a bush. Not only that, but in its hand was a long blood-stained blade. On the tip of the blade, two small round holes held two bronze bells that jingled non-stop in the wind. The more he heard those piercing sounds, the deeper the young man sank into despair, reaching out his hand in a last desperate plea for help. "Help, help me." But before he could finish his words, that black figure suddenly dashed out of the bush, moving as fast as the wind. Then a long tentacle wrapped tightly around the unfortunate young man's ankle, preventing him from struggling. Just like that, he was helplessly dragged straight into the bush, his hands clawing desperately at the ground. In the blink of an eye, he was gone, leaving behind only thick sand and the scratch marks on the ground. Time passed quickly until morning came the next day. The young man from yesterday had become a corpse, his skin pale, mouth wide open. Beside him, a sigh sounded. What a pity. Three figures appeared from nowhere, observing the body with puzzled eyes. Why did he enter the restricted zone? The short-haired girl stood up and spoke. "Another victim. I guess we'll have to write another report." Hearing that, the ponytailed girl added, "Judging by the footprints, it must be a big one. If we don't want to work overtime, we'd better get started." Just as she said that, suddenly a swirl of sand appeared around her, making her stop. She immediately looked ahead with high alert, reaching into her clothes to pull out something. What she took out was a handleless knife wrapped with a white string. Without hesitation, she slashed hard across her palm. Blood gushed out thick and red. Then the black-haired girl pressed the blade into her wounded palm. Suddenly, a strange scene unfolded. The flowing blood covered the blade, causing it to gradually lengthen, her arm turning dark. Pain was written all over her face. She groaned but still endured it. At that moment, the short-haired girl pointed toward the black shadow flickering behind the bush and shouted, "Officer Kang!" It appeared. Through the storm of sand, a figure with crimson skin holding a long blade slowly emerged. Yet none of the three seemed worried at all. The ponytailed girl's eyes flashed with killing intent as she stared forward and said, "I'll handle this." Then she stepped forward. The small knife in her hand had turned into a long sword, merging completely with her body. On the back of her jacket were the words, "Special Sandstorm Response Unit." The scene shifted elsewhere, at a towering skyscraper under the blazing sun. Inside a room, an exam was being held. At the entrance, a small sign read, "Seoul City Civil Service Exam, Level 9. The room was crowded with people waiting for their turn. A loud voice called, "Candidate number 12, yes, please come in." At the same time, inside the men's restroom, a gloomy atmosphere hung in the air. A young man sat with his head down, extremely anxious, countless tangled thoughts running through his mind. "I'm doomed. I don't want to go. I want to go home. I'm too nervous. I'm shaking. My heart is about to jump out." His face had turned pale, sweat drenched his body. His hands trembled uncontrollably. "I can't do it." After calming himself for a moment, he stepped out and splashed cold water on his face. The cool stream cleared his mind a little, and he looked into the mirror reflecting his own image. It seemed things might get better, but they didn't. The sound of running water kept echoing in his head. He closed his eyes tightly and took a small bottle of pills from his pocket. "No, I have to take more. It's already over the dose, but I can't calm down." Just as he thought that, he suddenly heard a strange noise. The young man raised his head and looked outside. What met his eyes was the sight of a sparrow slowly descending to perch on a dry branch. Then it stared straight at him, its eyes seemingly alive. Facing that gaze, his expression grew even more panicked, doubting what he was seeing. Deep within the sparrow's eyes, the young man could see his own reflection, as if he himself were being marked as the target. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind blew down his spine, making him shiver, sweat pouring down his face. In that moment, a horrifying scene unfolded. The sparrow's face twisted grotesquely, and it even spoke in a human voice. "What are you looking at? You are dead for sure?" Hearing those words, the young man wasn't even surprised, because this kind of thing was already too normal for him. Damn anxiety disorder. A while later, when he stepped back outside, the television was showing news. And now for our next story, a couple camping on Manhwa Island. 4 men and women in their 20s disappeared while camping on the deserted island of Manhwa. But the young man didn't pay much attention to that news, muttering repeatedly to himself, "I can do it, I can do it, I can do it." His name was Maru, 29 years old. Just like any other young man, he was an ordinary Korean. He studied like everyone else, graduated from an average university, and was struggling with unemployment like everyone else. Today was the day Maru went for a job interview. After 5 years of preparation for the Level 9 civil service exam, he had finally reached the interview stage. Just as he was thinking that, the door in front of him opened and a woman stepped out, calling loudly, "Candidate number 35, Maru." Hearing his name, he quickly stood up and answered, "Yes, that's me." The woman continued, "Please wait for your turn." This was the moment Maru had been waiting for so long. He clenched his fists tightly, showing his determination. "Good, this time I must pass." Though he said that, he still couldn't stop feeling anxious, his whole body stiff as he walked like a robot, trying to reassure himself, "Come on, you can do this." Inside the room, at the main table sat a man with a very serious expression, the light from his glasses flashing as if probing the person before him. Seeing that look, Maru swallowed hard, sweat dripping down his face. The man asked, "What motivates you to become a civil servant?" Maru immediately replied, "I want to become a civil servant to contribute to the community." Though that was what he said out loud, deep inside another voice whispered in his ear, "For a stable life, a steady salary every month, a safe life without chaos." The man continued, "And if your superior behaves wrongly, what will you do?" Maru thought for a moment and answered, "I will honestly point out the mistakes to my superior and find a way to resolve them together. Of course I will handle it flexibly." His inner voice protested furiously, "Oh come on, just pretend you don't know. What if you get in trouble?" Hearing that answer, the interviewer wrote something down on his paper. "How are your social relationships?" Thinking everything was going smoothly, Maru smiled and said, "Terribly bad. I'm not good at socializing, and just maintaining relationships itself is already stressful. Back in college, my classmates even whispered behind my back that I had adult ADHD." His other self ground his teeth and argued, "My friendships are great. I'm close with my seniors and juniors too." That made the interviewer pause, his face showing shock as he said, Only then did Maru realize he had said the wrong thing. I said it backwards." But before he could explain, the interviewer sighed and continued, Then the final question. As he spoke, his glasses gleamed sharply. "What was the most difficult moment in your life, and how did you overcome it?" Maru fell silent, his mind spinning, stammering, Actually, I've never really faced anything that difficult." He thought to himself, "This is it. This is the moment." The man interrupted, "Just think simple. They just want to see how you handle problems." Maru strained his memory. "Let me see, right now I can only remember." Scratching his head, he began to tell, "When I was little, I once went hiking with my father." As soon as he said that, the image came back vividly. Around him was a sandstorm, blinding and thick. His eyes widened, his back went cold. He could still remember what he had seen then, a grotesque being that didn't look human staring right at him. Just recalling that face made Maru's head spin, his vision blurring into darkness. Right after that, the scene in his memory twisted, the monstrous creature revealing thousands of eyes and countless corpses lying scattered, blood splattered everywhere. Maru's whole body stiffened as he sat motionless in the chair, not moving an inch. His pupils slowly rolled back, completely losing consciousness. The chair toppled backward, crashing loudly to the floor. After a moment, Maru gradually regained a bit of awareness, his eyes half open, staring upward. But everything still looked blurry. In his field of vision was the ceiling of the company office. Before he could make sense of what had happened, the interviewer hurried over, calling out loudly, "Mr. Hanmaru." The man tried shaking him to wake him up. "Mr. Hanmaru, are you all right?" Before Maru could respond, a violent churn rose from his stomach, and he couldn't hold it in any longer. That evening, in an old apartment complex, the sun had already set. Inside a small room, Maru lay sprawled on the bed, a can of beer in hand, sighing endlessly. "It's over." He bit into his pillow and cried miserably. "I must have failed the interview. No job, no girlfriend, not even friends. Can I ever live a normal life like everyone else?" Just as he said that, a loud noise came from outside the door, making him flinch and turn to look. Maru quickly pulled himself together, got up, and went to open the door, asking, "Who is it?" Before his eyes stood a broad-shouldered woman towering in the doorway, making him jump. She shouted angrily, "Why didn't you answer your phone?" Hearing that, Maru pouted and stepped back inside, replying, "What's wrong, Mom? Didn't you go to work?" In her hand was a large bag of food, which she held out to him and said, "I brought you some food. I'll go home after this. You still need to eat anyway." Seeing the food container, Maru's eyes lit up, drool almost spilling from his mouth as he asked, "Is it something savory, Mom?" She replied, "No, just kimchi and stir-fried black beans." That answer made him deflate, his face drooping as he muttered, "I'll enjoy it." Then she glanced around the messy room and frowned. On the table were scattered papers and half-eaten instant noodles. Nearby, a few beer cans and soda cans lay rolling on the floor. Seeing her son's room looking like a dump, Maru's mother could only sigh helplessly. "Hayes." Without even scolding him, she started cleaning up right away. "Impressive, my son. Just look at this place." Maru responded, "Leave it, Mom. I'll clean it later." But her next question made him collapse hopelessly into a corner. "So, how was the interview?" He held his head and wailed, "I threw up on the interviewer." Hearing that, she didn't scold him at all, just folded her arms, sighed deeply, then, without saying a word, smacked him hard on the back, making him cry out in pain, Just do better next time, don't lose heart." Rubbing his back, tears welled up in his eyes. "It really hurts." Before Maru could react, his mother pulled out an envelope and asked, "Out of money again?" Hearing her concerned voice, he couldn't help but get emotional, sniffling. Then he refused the money she handed him. "No need, Mom. I'm an adult now. I've got part-time work." Before he could finish, she flexed her arm, her sleeve tightening as she interrupted, "Take it. Just listen to your mother." Terrified, he quickly accepted it. "Yes, thank you, Mom." Then she suddenly remembered something and said, "I heard your interview didn't go well, so I went to see a fortune teller about it." Maru looked surprised. "What?" Without letting him ask more, she made a decision. "Maru, you should take a trip to the mountain." And so, early the next morning, Maru took a boat to a distant mountain. Standing at the dock, he stretched and exhaled after an uncomfortable sleep. Looking around the place, he sighed tiredly. How many years has it been? I really didn't want to come here." But no matter what he said, he was already there, so he could only follow his mother's words. He remembered what she had told him. "I heard there's a very accurate fortune teller, so I went to ask about your job situation. They said the reason you keep failing interviews isn't because of ADHD or anxiety disorder. Your father disappeared 10 years ago and was never heard from again." As she spoke, her expression turned serious. "The fortune teller said your father died on the mountain you two used to visit, and his spirit is blocking your path." She added, "He also said you must go up the mountain, offer him liquor, and comfort his spirit. Then you'll be able to pass the civil service exam." Thinking of that, Maru gasped for breath, complaining, "Huff, how long do I have to keep climbing?" As soon as he finished speaking, an old house came into view, and he exclaimed in relief, "Found it." Without hesitation, Maru hurried forward, pushed open the gate, and stepped inside. His eyes scanned the familiar yard, taking in the scene. Then, in a fleeting moment of uncertainty, he saw something that made his eyes widen in shock. Standing in the yard at that moment was a child, and that child was none other than Maru himself when he was young. Before he could understand what was happening, the boy ran straight into the house. As he approached the door, he did not go inside immediately but instead cracked it open slightly to peek in. Suddenly, the sight before him made him hesitate. Inside the house, shrouded in darkness, stood the figure of a man holding his head. The man's posture looked unstable, his face turned inward. Yet, the boy still decided to push the door open, letting the light from outside stream in. As the room gradually filled with light, the boy's fear subsided slightly. He ran inside, clutching tightly to the man's pant leg, and called softly, "Dad, I'm hungry, Dad." Hearing his son's voice, the man remained motionless, faint groans echoing from his throat. Suddenly, his eyes flew open wide as he screamed like a madman. Returning to the present, Maru was still standing at the doorway looking in. But inside, the room was completely empty. No one there, only his own shadow cast across the old floor tiles. Before he could process anything, a sharp pain gripped his chest. Maru's hands trembled uncontrollably as he struggled to hold back the nausea. Too suffocating. He forced himself to take a slow, steady breath, then exhaled deeply to calm down. Let's finish this quickly and get down the mountain. Without wasting more time, Maru opened his backpack, took out a bottle of liquor, then poured it into a small cup. As he poured the drink onto the ground, he said, "Father, I hope you rest peacefully in the afterlife. Mother sent me here." He continued, "I wish you happiness. Oh, and I also want to ask the mountain spirit for something." His eyes were filled with a sorrow beyond words. "Father left us. Mother worked so hard to raise me alone. Please help me find a stable job." While Maru was distracted, behind him the dust began to swirl violently into the air. Seeing it, his eyes widened in confusion. What's that? A sandstorm or a forest fire? Though unsure what was happening, Maru felt something was wrong. He immediately turned and ran toward the path down the mountain. "This isn't good. I need to get down before something bad happens. Safety first." Just as he said that, a voice echoed from within the sandstorm, "Safety first." Hearing it, Maru froze and glanced behind him. Did someone just answer me? Before his eyes was a wall of yellow sand obscuring the distance. But when he looked closer, he noticed a small figure slowly emerging, holding a long, sharp stick. What startled him even more was that its head was incomplete, part of it missing. His face showed clear bewilderment, yet he stayed still, trying to see what it was. The closer it came, the clearer it became. The sharp stick was a bamboo pole, and the creature holding it had the form of a human, its belly swollen like a balloon, its mouth torn wide open revealing rows of white teeth, and one side of its head was missing. It kept repeating Maru's words, "Safety first." Witnessing this horrifying sight, he couldn't believe his eyes and rubbed them hard. But no, it was still there, clear as ever. What is that?" Very quickly, the creature approached him, now only a few steps away. Maru didn't stand still any longer and turned to leave, thinking, "Another hallucination. Something feels terribly wrong." Yet before he could take a few steps, he froze in place. Looking down, he saw that his stomach had been pierced through by the bamboo stick, blood gushing out endlessly. Writhing in pain and panic, Maru collapsed to the ground. Behind him, the monster slowly advanced. In this situation, the best thing to do is run. What is this? Am I dying like this? Maru couldn't accept it. He had spent every day studying and working part-time, never even enjoying life. But maybe it didn't matter anymore. If I die, I won't have to worry about finding a job or paying debts. No one will care if I die anyway. Just when it seemed like he would give up, memories of his mother flooded his mind, making him jolt awake and cry out, "Mom." In that instant, Maru knew he couldn't die here. He clenched his teeth and endured the pain. Then, with one hand gripping the bamboo stick, he slowly forced himself to stand. His mother was his reason to keep living. Still, I can't die yet. Just as he thought that, the monster came closer, sniffing with its twisted nose. Seeing its mouth open wide and its long tongue lolling out, Maru held his breath in terror. From its throat came that same phrase, repeated again and again, safety first. Before he could react, it lunged at him. His eyes widened in horror as he saw a blue pupil staring directly at him. Mouth. Does it have an eye there? The monster's legs clamped tightly around him, holding him still, its mouth wide open aiming for his shoulder. Maru's face turned pale as he leaned back, trying to escape. Fall off. What is this? Before he could finish, the creature bit down hard into his shoulder. Pain shot through him instantly, jolting Maru awake, his eyes wide as he screamed. He could feel his flesh tearing apart. I'm going insane. Suddenly, a fragment of memory flashed through his mind. His father standing there, muttering something unclear. Wah, wah. His father's eyes glowed with madness. Eat, eat. Then he looked straight at Maru and screamed, cursed. In that moment, Maru's will to live surged even stronger. Without hesitation, he bit hard into the monster's shoulder and tore into its flesh. Grinding his teeth, he ripped its body apart with all his strength. The monster howled in agony and despair, blood splattering everywhere. Under the space, everything seemed to stop. Only the miserable screams of the monster could be heard. From deep within its throat, that eye was still staring straight at Maru. That gaze carried a demonic meaning that was hard to describe. It felt like it was drilling straight into his mind, and then finally that eye exploded, shattering and disappearing. Maru felt his mind falling into an abyss. His eyes suddenly opened. Wide before him was the sight of countless monsters piled on top of each other. They kept roaring as if wanting to escape. In that chaotic situation, Maru heard a strange sound. He wondered, what? Who was talking to him? He guessed he was dead. He could taste something metallic. Is this the taste of death? Just then that voice called out again. Hey! Maru slowly opened his eyes. Who is calling me this time? And when his eyes adjusted to the sunlight, he saw two people standing before him asking, This is a restricted area. What are you doing here? Hearing that, Maru's expression was confused. His brows furrowed. Then he suddenly remembered what had happened earlier and sat up, breathing heavily. His eyes darted around, searching for the monster. Where is that monster? And the sandstorm disappeared with it. Hearing the word sandstorm, the man quickly ran up, grabbed Maru's arm. What? Say that again. What did you see? Though Maru didn't understand what was going on, he explained, the sandstorm suddenly appeared. Then a monster appeared and attacked me. Hearing that, the man's face showed shock. His eyes widened. Maru continued, touching his abdomen and said, I thought I was going to die because it stabbed through my stomach. With that, there was no doubt left. The man glanced at the short-haired woman and nodded, signaling to her. Then before Maru could figure out what was happening, the two of them moved aside, whispering, Yesterday when the demon alarm went off and stopped right after, I thought it was broken, but it seems he killed it. Impossible. The short-haired woman shook her head in disbelief. Even with the power from demon blood, you can't use it immediately. The man agreed, glancing back at Maru who was still sitting there. Then he called out, Hey! His expression turned serious as he asked, Do you remember what happened yesterday? Hearing that, Maru reached into his pocket, fumbling for something and asked, What do you mean by yesterday? And when he pulled out his phone, the screen showed 1:30 the next day. Startled, he exclaimed, A whole day has passed. I was unconscious for a whole day after being killed by that monster. Watching him clutch his head and shout, the man and short-haired woman kept talking. That guy, if he defeated the demon, then he must have gained some ability, right? Also, he's still fine after yesterday. Isn't that too sudden? I think he still doesn't understand what's going on. Sighing, the man stepped closer and said, Hey, you just need to find out what happened. We've gone through the same thing. His hand gripped Maru's shoulder. Then he smiled, saying, You came at the right time. You'll have to join too. Hearing those strange words from a stranger, Maru asked, Join what? The man interrupted, First, let's get you some clothes to change into. Later, at a crowded settlement on the island, houses stood close together. Inside a two-story building, all the doors were tightly shut. Around it hung large signs that read, Special Official. Above was the title, New Employee Orientation Center. The more Maru looked, the less he understood, his eyes full of confusion. Right now he was sitting in a room, surrounded by many others neatly dressed, like an interview. His mind tried to make sense of everything but couldn't. What just happened? Looking at the large stage in front of him, he wondered, why am I suddenly attending an orientation for government officials? Everyone else around him looked gloomy, unwilling. Their expressions showed anxiety and fear, as if hiding something. Why am I here? The atmosphere grew heavier, making Maru feel suffocated. They're strange. What's wrong with their expressions? This is scary. Just as he thought that, a loud noise echoed, high heels clacking. A pair of red heels stepped onto the stage. The woman carried an air of authority, standing at the microphone, looking down at everyone. She introduced herself. I am Yu Young Yoon, head of the Seoul headquarters. I welcome all new staff to the environmental orientation. Before she could finish, someone raised their hand, stopping her. It was Maru. He stammered, I'm sorry, I don't think I can attend this event. Young Yoon interrupted. Not at all, I just received a report from the Manhwa team. You've been hired as a special official starting today. Congratulations. Those words hit Maru like lightning, his mind filled with question marks. Maru accepted as a special official, but he hadn't even applied. Without wasting time, she continued, looking at everyone. You must already know that as special officials, we belong to the Environmental Orientation Department. As you know, we fight to protect others' lives, so you must never tell your family, relatives, or acquaintances. If you reveal it, you'll be punished for violating national security law. Hearing that, Maru was shocked, thinking, violating national security law. Young Yoon continued, her tone serious. Among you are recruits who received demonic energy this month. When demon blood enters the body, there is a chance to gain a demonic ability. The more he listened, the more confused he became. What is she even talking about? What kind of nonsense is this? I've never. Before he could finish, he suddenly remembered yesterday, when that horrific monster attacked him. Wait, could it be that I was bitten by that monster? Young Yoon went on. Fortunately, demons only appear in remote mountains. Sandstorms appear at the same time as demons, with density levels from 1 to 10. Her eyes widened, showing the gravity of the matter. The higher the level, the stronger the demons. She called out, Xianmu. The man sitting next to Maru raised his hand. I'm here. Young Yoon asked, you received a level 7 demonic ability, right? I look forward to your contributions. He smiled confidently and replied, I'll do my best. Turning the page, she continued, and her eyes looked directly at Maru, Han Maru, who received a level 1 demonic ability. What kind of power did you get? Hearing that, he scratched his head awkwardly and said, I think I still don't know my ability yet. Ahaha. As soon as he said that, Xianwu burst out laughing beside him, making Maru flinch. Maru felt irritated, thinking, what? That guy just laughed at me, right? He's mocking me because he got level 7 while I got level 1. But then he realized it didn't matter much. That's not important. I just need to escape this place. Before he could act, suddenly an alarm blared, startling everyone. What's happening? Young Yoon exclaimed, oh, perfect timing. That's an alert. A demon has just appeared. Without giving them time to panic, they were all taken to a desolate mountain. She pointed forward, urging everyone. This is your practical training to show your abilities. Move quickly and climb the mountain. Though Maru didn't understand what was happening, he had to climb with the others, his head full of unanswered questions. What am I doing here? I just went through that crazy thing yesterday. And now I have to go to this dangerous place. It makes me uneasy. We need to get down before the wind picks up. Safety first. Maru gasped for breath, saying, safety is. Before he could finish, a familiar sight appeared. It was a sandstorm again. His eyes widened in panic. What is that? That dust again? Through the thick dust, Maru could see a figure standing tall. But this time it didn't look like a monster, it seemed more human. After staring closely, he realized it was a girl. Her right arm dried up like skin over bone. Is that even human? Is she okay? While he was lost in thought, the girl suddenly looked straight at Maru. That gaze made him jump, his eyes wide. In front of the girl, a horrifying sight appeared, a huge wound, blood dripping down. What emerged was a gigantic monster, twice the size of a human, with a wooden stake piercing its head, pinning it to a rock. Maru's body went weak. He sat down trembling. No way, what is that? The others around him were equally stunned, their mouths hanging open. Before they could react, Young Yoon's voice rang out again. Why are you all so tense? Everyone attention. She smiled excitedly, announcing, all right, training begins now. Looking at the demon pinned to the rock, she explained, level 1 density. Even if it's huge, it's still the weakest demon. Young Yoon pointed at a ponytailed woman, introducing Captain Kang from the Ganghwa team. She stabbed a knife into the demon's brain, so don't worry, it can't move. Suddenly, Captain Kang's eyes shifted curiously toward Maru, the one who supposedly killed a demon yesterday. The more she looked, the more curious she became. What kind of ability does he have, and how could he kill one right after gaining his power? Young Yoon shouted, now, use your abilities and fight that demon. Hearing that, Maru froze, sweating like rain. Fight, fight, is she crazy? That monstrous creature was towering several times his size, his legs stiff. How could he possibly fight that thing? As he thought that, his chest tightened painfully. He clutched it, feeling a strange heat rising from within. My anxiety disorder again. My chest, it hurts. I can't breathe. His heart beat faster and faster, so loud it felt like it would burst. Then a strange sensation washed over him, making Maru wonder, what is this? Why do I suddenly feel hungry? The space around him seemed to distort, sounds closing in. His vision blurred, unable to focus. Behind him, a grotesque monster crawled closer. It stretched out its clawed hand, grabbing Maru's head. He froze completely still. The monster opened its mouth, revealing sharp teeth and glowing yellow eyes, speaking in a low guttural voice, eat it. Returning outside, the sandstorm still raged around everyone. Too focused on the demon, they didn't notice Maru's strange state. Saliva dripped from his mouth as he muttered, I want to eat. Deep inside, Maru felt something urging him. His eyes glowed as he looked up, screaming, I want to eat. I want to eat. Hunger churned violently inside Maru's stomach, his whole body trembling as he tried to suppress it. From his mouth, saliva flowed uncontrollably. At that very moment, a hand suddenly reached out and lightly touched his shoulder. Instantly, Maru snapped back to his senses, his eyes widening in surprise. The one who had just approached was Xianwu. He smiled and asked, are you crying because you were too scared? Maru wiped the drool from his mouth and replied, no, it's just because I'm too hungry. Seeing that expression, Xianwu became even more disdainful, thinking, so it's true, he's scared out of his mind over something like this. Without wasting more time talking, Xianwu turned away, sighed, and muttered, what a useless bunch. Maru remained there, rubbing his stomach in confusion. Why did I just say I was hungry? Returning to the main topic, Young Yoon stood atop a large cliff looking down at everyone and shouted, attention. She continued, before you can hope to survive here, I'll explain some basic things for you to understand. The yellow dust spreading around us is created by demons. The stronger the demon, the thicker the dust, and when they are within the sand, they become even more powerful. As she spoke, she picked up a sharp knife and raised her hand. Then, without hesitation, Young Yoon made a shallow cut across her palm, crimson blood dripping out. Witnessing that, everyone winced in pain for her. But before they could comprehend what was happening, the wound on Young Yoon's palm slowly closed up as if nothing had ever happened. When we are inside the sand zone, we can also use part of their power, and our wounds will heal faster, she explained. Her face then darkened as she warned, but if it's a fatal wound, we can still die, so be careful. While Young Yoon was still speaking, Xianwu seemed uninterested, yawning repeatedly. Our abilities only work at full strength inside this sandstorm. Once we leave it, we're no different from ordinary people," he mumbled sleepily, tears welling from boredom, wondering how long he'd have to listen to these meaningless words. His eyes then shifted toward the demon pinned on the massive rock. "Of course, the most important thing is being able to use our powers." Feeling restless, Xianwu tilted his head slightly, murmuring, "Let's see." Then, he bit hard into his own lip. Blood began to ooze from the wound, and the sand quickly surged forward, entering through the open cut. Each grain of sand seeped into Xianwu's blood, flowing through his arteries. His fist clenched tightly, veins bulging across his reddened skin. His pupils gradually shifted to a glowing, eerie yellow. At that moment, Xianwu looked like a completely different person. A twisted grin spread across his face. If the sand enters through a wound, let's see how much power it brings. Thinking that, he quietly reached behind his back and slipped on a shiny black glove. Without hesitation, he snapped the joint of his index finger and muttered, "Let's see how strong this gets." The moment his finger broke, the knife lodged in the demon's head shattered into pieces. Sensing danger, Captain Kang's eyes widened as she turned sharply toward it. She ran toward the others, shouting, "Be careful." Around them, the sandstorm thickened, blinding their vision. Through the swirling sand, the demon rose, towering like a massive pillar. It seemed to have gone mad, unleashing its strength with a terrifying roar. Its clenched fists slammed into the ground, causing the earth to crack and split. The gusts of wind struck the group with force, leaving them unable to react in time. Seeing the situation grow increasingly dire, Captain Kang couldn't stand idly by any longer and prepared to jump in to help. But before she could act, Young Yoon raised her hand to stop her, shouting, "Don't interfere." Kang protested anxiously, "But it's too dangerous for the new recruits." Of course, Young Yoon knew that, but she still chose not to intervene, saying, "Fine, this will serve as their practice. If they can't adapt, they won't survive anyway." Meanwhile, the demon suddenly stopped mid-step as if sensing something. Its face snapped toward one direction, glaring intensely. Its gaze pierced through the crowd right at Maru's position, making him panic. His face filled with fear as he gritted his teeth. "What the hell? Why is it looking at me?" Before Maru could understand, the demon raised its hand, and from its palm, a gleaming scythe shot out like an arrow, flying straight toward him. Seeing this, Captain Kang froze, unable to react in time. Maru was thrown to the ground, his arm torn open and drenched in blood, his voice trembling in agony. His whole body shook as he clutched the wound, hissing in pain. While he tried to crawl away, the demon suddenly leapt high into the air, its fist clenched tight. "Damn it!" A thunderous crash echoed as the demon landed right in front of him. Its massive shadow swallowed the light, leaving only Maru's terrified face visible. For some reason, it seemed the demon had chosen Maru as its prey. Its clawed hand slowly lifted. Just then, the ground beneath them split open, and two massive red centipedes burst forth, wrapping around the demon's body and neck, immobilizing it. The tighter they constricted, the more the demon's body trembled. The centipede's glowing eyes and sharp fangs gleamed menacingly. This attack came from a man whose head bore two long antennae. His hands were plunged into the ground, channeling power. Taking advantage of the demon's restraint, a swift woman dashed forward. In the blink of an eye, she vanished from her spot and leapt high. Her hand, sharp as a blade, slashed clean through one side of the demon's head. The woman carried a different kind of strength, fierce and unyielding. The demon howled in pain as sand spewed endlessly from its mouth. Hearing its agonized screams, the clawed woman and the centipede man exchanged hopeful glances, asking, "Is it over?" But before they could celebrate, the sandstorm surged and poured into the demon's wounds. The flesh on its head began to regenerate, bubbling violently until its head was fully restored as if nothing had happened. Shocked, the two gasped, "Impossible, it healed that fast." After regenerating, the demon seemed even stronger. Its massive hand gripped one of the centipedes and tore it away effortlessly. The centipede man froze in horror, unable to react before the demon hurled him backward. slamming him into the clawed woman. But it didn't stop there. He felt himself being yanked violently back toward the demon. In that instant, the demon's giant hand seized his throat, squeezing hard. The man struggled to breathe, his body trembling, forcing out words, "Let me go." Watching its prey writhe in despair only excited the demon further. It opened its jaws wide, revealing rows of sharp teeth, preparing to bite down. Facing death, the man screamed, "Help me." The moment his plea ended, nearby, Xianwu snapped another finger crack. The demon's face twisted unnaturally, its jaw bending sideways. Its grip loosened, allowing the centipede man to fall free. Xianwu's glowing eyes narrowed as he clenched his fist and said coldly, "That's enough." Demon collapsed. The demon went berserk, veins bulging across its face as it turned toward Xianwu, ready to strike with another scythe. Yet Xianwu remained calm, slowly removing his glove. He gripped his own wrist, and without hesitation, twisted it backward until the bones shattered, muttering, "Die." The demon's neck twisted violently several times before its head exploded, splattering blood everywhere. Its massive body fell to the ground, motionless. Stepping forward, Xianwu placed his foot on the demon's severed head, his eyes cold as he thought, to kill it, just cut off its head and keep it from touching the sand. Everyone watching was stunned and full of admiration. He's too strong. He defeated that demon in an instant. Yet even after killing it, Xianwu felt no satisfaction. Too weak. It fell before I could even warm up. Just then, Captain Kang stormed over, furious, shouting, "Hey!" She pointed straight at him and demanded, "You caused this chaos, didn't you? You're the reason the demon woke up. If you keep this up, the new recruits will be in danger." As the demon's body turned to sand and faded, Xianwu retorted, "Don't blame everything on me." Hearing his excuses, Captain Kang couldn't hold back anymore. She grabbed his arm tightly and yelled, "It's all your fault. Take responsibility and stop arguing." Before she could continue, Young Yoon approached, clapping loudly. She praised, "Enough. He really is skilled." Since it's their first time, many of them panicked. But before she could finish, her expression shifted. "Wait." Looking around, Young Yoon realized Maru was no longer where he had been. One of the new recruits, he's gone. Not far away, Maru was running for his life as fast as he could. Unfortunately, behind him, another demon was chasing, the sandstorm growing stronger. "This isn't good. I can't fight them," he thought in terror. "I have to hide. It's the only way to survive." Just as he said that, something ahead made him freeze. A massive shadow loomed before him, making him stumble back in fear. What now? Back where Young Yoon stood, she sighed in frustration. Running from a demon, how disgraceful. He doesn't deserve to be a special official. Captain Kang stood nearby, rubbing her chin thoughtfully, her brows furrowed. "Something's off," she murmured, remembering how the demon had charged straight for Maru earlier. It seemed to have specifically targeted him. Young Yoon turned and called out, "Chief Kang Cha-na, go find him." Kang replied, "But is there something strange about this?" She added worriedly, "The demon is dead, but the yellow sand remains." Indeed, just as she said, the sandstorm still raged instead of fading, growing even denser. Young Yoon muttered, "If that's the case." Meanwhile, at Maru's location, misfortune struck. Before him stood a colossal gate, spewing thick clouds of sand. Why is there a gate here? From within that gate, behind the swirling dust, came monstrous roars that sent chills down his spine. The next moment, a massive, grotesque demon burst through. Luckily, at the very last moment, Maru ducked behind a nearby bush, covering his mouth to silence his breath. His body trembled uncontrollably as he thought, "I ran all this way just to encounter another one." Peeking out carefully, he tried to observe, but the demon was gone. Only pale yellow dust remained, nothing there. Relieved, he let out a quiet sigh only to freeze again, realizing the demon was now standing right behind him, watching intently. "It's gone, right? It's gone, right?" While Cha-na and Young Yoon were still standing there in confusion, a man ran over in a hurry, shouting loudly, "Chief!" His face clearly showed worry. "Chief Kang Cha-na." Hearing this, she startled and turned to ask, "What's wrong, Yusiak?" He didn't answer right away, but took a few breaths to catch his breath before saying, "There's a phone call, reporting that the number of level 3 Rakshasa demons has increased." Hearing this, young Yoon couldn't believe her ears and exclaimed, "What? They've never appeared in the same area at once." Knowing there was no more time to hesitate, Chan Na urged, "Where did they appear?" "In the restricted area." At that very moment in the restricted area, just as she suspected, the surroundings were covered in a thick layer of golden sand, swirling even more violently. Suddenly, a hand grabbed the barbed wire and pulled hard. The man's body lunged forward without caring about anything else. The man running as if chased by ghosts was none other than Maru. His hands clenched into fists, using all his strength to run away from the demon chasing him. Maru was so terrified that tears and snot ran down his face, sweat pouring from his forehead. Yet he couldn't stop. His mouth screamed desperately, "Help me." Just as he said that, his foot tripped over a pebble on the ground, making him stumble. His whole body fell down the cliff, but luckily, the height wasn't too deep. Very soon, Maru managed to sit up, rubbing his sore head after hitting the ground. What caught his eyes not far away was a small house, appearing like his lifeline. Without thinking twice, Maru ran toward it with all his strength. Ah, a place to hide. Moments later, inside the shabby tin-roofed house, the golden sandstorm began to surge. Standing behind the closed door, Maru couldn't stop trembling, his heartbeat pounding like a drum. What is this? Though frightened, he decided to slightly open the door to peek outside and observe. It probably didn't follow me here, right? Before he could finish his sentence, he saw the demon already waiting outside, half hidden behind the sandstorm. Ah, damn it, I'm done for. Looking closely, Maru noticed several sharp stones floating above the demon's head, circling like blades. His eyes widened in shock. What is that? Looks like leaves above its head. What should I do now? At that moment, the sound of a door opening startled him. His eyes widened in horror. Outside, an old woman had just returned home. Hearing strange noises, she asked, "Who's there?" But the thick sand obscured her view, making her unable to see clearly. How strange. Fog during the day, can't see a thing. The demon also heard her voice and turned sharply toward the sound. But the old woman remained unaware. It's so blurry, I can't see anything ahead. Seeing his prey right there, the demon's mouth trembled slightly, growls rumbling deep from its throat. Inside the shed, Maru saw everything, his heart restless. Ah, it's an old woman, I must help her. But just as he was about to rush out, he remembered he had no power to fight. I don't have any special abilities. What can I do? Think, come on. After searching his memory, Maru remembered what young Yoon once said. We possess Rakshasa demon powers, the ability to heal wounds within the sand. His eyes lit up, that's right. Though he knew injuries could heal within the sand, he hesitated. If the wound is too severe, I should still be careful. Just thinking about it made his body tremble uncontrollably. I could die. Maybe it's better to run instead of saving a stranger. Thinking that, Maru decided, I have to survive first. Outside, the old woman was still trapped in danger, asking in confusion, "Who's there, Changsub? Is that you?" Hearing the name, the demon muttered repeatedly, "Changsub, Changsub." When no one answered, the old woman decided to turn and leave. Why isn't he answering? But right then, a horrifying sight froze her in place. The demon had appeared right in front of her, towering like a massive tree. Seeing such a monstrous thing, she fell to the ground in terror. Ah, what is that? Yet the demon had no intention of letting her go. Its lips curled into a sinister smile, Changsub. Then it slowly raised a finger toward her. Immediately, the sharp stones above its head all turned toward the old woman, ready to strike. Finally, the demon flicked its finger, sending the stones shooting forward like bullets slicing through the wind. The old woman closed her eyes tightly, bracing for death, unable to resist. But after a long moment, nothing happened. She opened one eye to look. Right before her, Maru stood there, using his body as a shield, his teeth clenched tightly in pain. Yet he forced a gentle smile and asked, "Are you all right, ma'am?" The old woman stammered, "I'm fine, but..." It turned out that after taking those hits, one of Maru's arms had been severed, his back pierced with sharp stones. He collapsed toward the old woman. "Child, your arm." Despite having no strength left, he still urged her, "Ma'am, please run." His breathing grew weaker, blood dripping endlessly from his wounds, thoughts swirling in his mind. Why do I only have level 1 Rakshasa power? It's as useless as me. Power means everything. Behind him, the demon approached with a satisfied grin, and Maru knew, without power, he'd die, unable to save her. Through his fading vision, he saw the old woman crying but refusing to leave. Maru gasped, "Ah, I don't want to die. Please help me." His vision blurred more and more, about to collapse any second. "Please, someone help me." He felt himself sinking into a pit of despair, groaning weakly, "Help me." At that very moment, the golden sand seeped into his wounded arm, endlessly. It entered his veins, spreading up to his neck, then across his face, veins bulging through his pale skin. His voice faded, his nose lifted as if sniffing for something. Maru now seemed like a different person, no longer feeling pain, slowly lifting his head. His mouth opened, drooling uncontrollably like he was craving something, his eyes glowing brightly, empty of life. Before the demon could react, Maru lunged first, attacking ferociously. Not far away in the forest, Cha-na was running desperately toward the restricted area. While searching for the demon, a loud scream made her stop. She turned toward the small house where the sound came from. Her face showed worry as she kicked the gate open and rushed inside. The sight before her left her stunned, unable to believe her eyes. The one being attacked wasn't Maru, it was the demon, being savagely torn apart by him. Cha-na shouted in shock, "Rookie, what are you doing?" Though the demon had taken a fatal bite from Maru, it quickly regained its advantage, grabbing his face tightly and hurling him backward. Facing the massive level 3 demon, Maru's body slammed into the rock wall, shattering it. Even after losing consciousness, he didn't scream but kept chewing the flesh he had ripped from the demon's body. After chewing thoroughly, he swallowed it whole. Even the demon was shocked by what had happened, unable to understand, blood still dripping from its wounds. This time was different despite the swirling sand. Its wounds didn't heal. Seeing it turn to flee, Cha-na muttered in disbelief. The Rakshasa demon can't heal after being bitten by the rookie. Her eyes widened. How could that be? But remembering something more urgent, she brushed the thought aside and charged toward the demon. No, now isn't the time for that. With her agility, she leaped high above the demon's head. Her eyes locked onto one of the sharp stones floating above it, reaching out her hand. Finally, she grabbed it, squeezing so hard that blood dripped from her palm. From that hand, a blade extended, merging with her arm as one, the iron power of the Rakshasa. Feeling the disturbance, the demon roared madly, raising its clawed hand to hurl the stones at her. Watching calmly, Cha-na didn't panic. When the time was right, her pupils flashed golden. Without hesitation, she swung her blade, slicing the stones into tiny shards. The fragments shot back at the demon, forcing it to cover its face in pain. Taking the chance, Cha-na counterattacked, slashing directly at its head. In an instant, she delivered a perfect strike down through the demon's body. Before it could react, its head split in two along with its gaping mouth. The body collapsed, disintegrating into golden sand as if nothing had happened. After finishing the demon, Cha-na's eyes remained sharp, wary, watching closely. Only when she was sure the demon's body was fading away did she finally relax. No longer staying there, she turned toward the old woman lying unconscious on the ground. Cha-na helped her up and asked, "Ma'am, are you all right?" Seeing her open her eyes slightly, she asked again, "Are you awake?" The old woman startled, sitting up, looking around in confusion. "Huh, what happened?" Cha-na smiled, "It's nothing, just a wild boar from the mountain causing trouble." Luckily, by the time the old woman woke up, the sand and demon had both vanished. Cha-na sighed in relief, thinking, "Good, the demon disappeared with the sand." The old woman cursed angrily, "Those wild boars again." Seeing that there was no more danger, Cha-na reassured her, We'll take care of them, don't worry." Hearing that, the old woman calmed down and went inside, closing the door. "Thank you for your hard work." Cha-na replied, "Please go inside, ma'am." After seeing her enter the house, Cha-na's expression turned cold as she looked behind her. She quickly walked to where Maru lay and said, "But..." Her eyes showed suspicion after what she had witnessed. "What's with this rookie?" Maru's arm, which had been severed, was now completely healed as if nothing had happened. She had never seen such a rapid recovery. His arm was just cut off, and now it's grown back. Could he really only have level 1 Rakshasa power? In the blink of an eye, the events of that day had passed. At this moment Maru was lying on the bed when suddenly a nightmare made him wake up screaming, Damn it, what the hell?" His hands trembled as he grabbed his phone and saw that it was already 8:26. Tomorrow he would start working. In his mind, images of the previous monster with its sharp features kept appearing. Next was the image of it being pierced through the head by a knife, pinned to a large rock. Finally, there was the scene of Maru being attacked by a crescent-shaped strike from its hand aimed directly at him. Just thinking about it made him feel more devastated than ever. His whole body exhausted with a gloomy mood. Oh, he did not want to go at all. The shock from that day still had not left him. Maru lay down on the bed, flailing his arms and legs while screaming, "Absolutely not." He thoughtfully considered the scene of being unemployed and having to depend on his mother, though it was true that finding a job was urgent. The more he thought, the more his head ached, his eyebrows furrowed. Finally, he decided not to care about it anymore, turned over and pulled the blanket over himself. Sleep first, then deal with it later. Like that, he quickly fell into a deep sleep. Thinking this would be a peaceful sleep, Maru was instead transported into a bizarre dreamscape. Before his eyes, a chaotic, bloody scene appeared with different demons. Among them, a demon was being torn apart by its own kind in a horrifyingly brutal way. Suddenly, a voice echoed from another realm directly into Maru's ear, startling him awake. Come back here, huh?" This dream was so vivid he could hardly breathe, sitting on the bed drenched in sweat. Maru looked at his palms confused and wondered, "What the hell? Why does it keep haunting me?" Just as he finished speaking, he noticed a beam of light shining through the window. Oh, is it already morning? To see outside, Maru reached out to slide the window open. Then he even leaned his head to look at the source of the light. What hit Maru's eyes was the sky still pitch black, but the peak of the mountain was illuminated by a large fire, thick black smoke rising. He exclaimed in horror, "Oh what? Qingjiasan Mountain is on fire. Hopefully the fire will not spread here." At the same time, on the mountain peak, the figure of a demon appeared, surrounded by blazing fire. Its appearance was unlike other demons. Its skin cracked open to reveal molten lava inside. Suddenly beside it, the figure of a girl appeared, swinging her hands to create a downpour. That girl had also received demon blood, and her power was water, the hydro ability of the Rasat demon. Each drop of water that touched the fire demon's body immediately evaporated. It hurriedly raised its hands to shield itself. Taking advantage of the fire demon being distracted, another person used his ability, puffing his cheeks to take a deep breath. Then he exhaled icy cold air like snow, the ice power of the Rasat demon. Receiving this strike, the fire demon's legs froze and could not move. These abilities were transmitted from the Rasat demon. Depending on the Rasat demon's level, the powers would be strong or weak. In just a blink, the fire demon was frozen into a large block of ice, and the girl quickly landed behind the man. Her expression showed clear worry as she asked, "Captain, Rasat demons usually do not appear at night." However, even he could not understand the current situation. His strength gradually depleted after the previous strike. He reminded, "Now focus on stopping the forest fire." Finishing his words, he glanced at the frozen fire demon standing motionless. Without hesitation, he raised his hand and took out a weapon made of ice. Although unsure if he could defeat the demon, the man still took responsibility. "Leave this to me." Saying this, he held two weapons and rushed quickly towards the fire demon. Before the man could execute this, unexpectedly a column of black energy appeared from nowhere, shining directly into the demon's brain. It was as if an invisible force commanded the demon to return here. Immediately it reacted, arching its neck towards the sky, shattering the ice block in an instant. Yet the man had no intention of stopping, holding his weapons and rushing forward. Instantly the fire demon did not stand still, clenching its fist and swinging. With just one punch it sent him flying backward in a flash. His whole body hit a nearby tree hard before he could stop. Fortunately, in danger, the man quickly used his hand to shield his front, the arm scorched by the heat, trembling in pain. Witnessing this, the girl with hydro abilities ran over anxiously, calling out, "Captain." The fire demon grew even stronger. A hole of boiling lava appeared behind it. Then it let out a loud roar. The hot lava erupted violently. The man truly could not understand what was happening, his eyes wide, saying, "Why?" Looking at the enormous figure standing before him, he grew even more suspicious. Why has it become stronger like this? Scene shifts to a tall building. Lights turned on all at once. Seoul headquarters. Inside the command room, the red alarm sounded continuously. Seeing this, Young Yoon asked, "What is the current situation?" On the data screens, information kept changing, and the source of the alarm was not just one place, but many at the same time. The data observer answered, "On more than 20 mountains across the country, 20 raids are occurring." Not only that, the more astonishing thing is, the form of the Rasad demon has completely changed. Hearing this, Young Yoon recalled what happened during training. What? Impossible. Rasad demons have never appeared simultaneously in one area. She worried and wondered. This started last week during On. Why is that? Just as she thought this, someone turned and called, "Director, there is an urgent call from Busan headquarters." She quickly pressed the answer button and asked, "Seoul headquarters here, what is the matter?" On another mountain in Busan province, a man with a worried look sighed, "Oh sister." Just saying this, his attitude instantly turned 90 degrees, smiling, asking, "I am B. Myung-sik, currently responsible at Busan headquarters. How are you? When will you come to Busan?" Hearing these nonsense questions, Young Yoon did not bother to answer, angrily replying, "Greetings are enough, get to the point." He began to explain, "Well, on Gimjin Mountain in Busan, a gate has appeared, and more amazingly, it has not closed for 3 days." This shocked her, mouth open, saying, "What?" From inside that gate, golden sandstorms continuously poured out, along with groans. The figure of a demon with a strange shape gradually emerged. Myung-sik continued, "A bunch of demons came out." He asked curiously, "I do not understand why the gate does not disappear. Do you know?" Young Yoon gave her guess. The Rasa demons must be worried about something. At the same time, from inside the gate, a demon with countless long tentacles and a red scarf on its head emerged, facing a girl. The demon began to speak in a language only they could understand. Myung-sik said, "A Rasat demon language interpreter at Busan headquarters told us." The demon seemed extremely urgent about this, screaming crazily with only one sentence. And the girl was attentively listening to the demon's words. The demons were screaming the sentence. The interpreter translated, "Bring him back here." Hearing this, Young Yoon did not understand at all. Bring him back. Who is he? The situation grew more tense. The demon soared into the sky, pulling a stream of golden sand. Then it hovered for a while as if searching for something. Finally, it used a sharp tentacle to land on the ground mysteriously. Myung-sik's face darkened as he continued, "I do not know about that either. Anyway, I think that person should come here." Saying that, but truly at this moment they did not know who the demons were referring to, while the demons continued rampaging everywhere. Without hesitation, Young Yoon pressed the emergency mobilization button to call another group of soldiers. Her eyes widened in extreme worry, sweat pouring down her face. At the same time in the sky, on a mountain, a helicopter flew to survey the situation. Suddenly a bell rang at headquarters. A young man answered. "What is the matter?" Young Yoon replied. "The situation on Gimjin Mountain in Busan is not good." His voice remained calm. He continued, I understand." Standing outside the helicopter, his gaze fixed downward, he said, "I will handle them and call you back later." After observing for a while, the young man finally detected the location of the disturbance. There it is. As soon as he said that, his figure disappeared from his previous position. Without hesitation, he dove straight down like a moth to the flame. From afar, only a beam of light could be seen falling onto the mountain covered by a dense sand stream. Very quickly, the young man finally reached the sand dust. Touching it meant his ability would be activated. He hurriedly took a deep breath, allowing the golden sand to enter his body. Immediately his eyes glowed golden, veins protruding on his face. His whole body was positioned vertically downward, legs pointing straight up. But just with one command, the situation completely reversed, space inverted. At this moment the young man landed on top of the gate. His feet lightly touched the black tiled roof with a few cracks. Witnessing the shadow standing there, a girl exclaimed in surprise, "Huh." She strained her eyes to see who it was. "Who is that? Suddenly he appeared here." Saying this, she quickly waved to urge the man to leave. "Hello? It is very dangerous here." Hearing this, the red scarf demon was startled and turned its head. Its lips curled to reveal sharp teeth along with groans from its throat. Without hesitation, it rushed straight to the girl, intending to kill her. Its leg formed a spear-like strike with wind-cutting speed. Hearing the strange sound, the girl was startled, looking up. The scene made her terrified, falling to the ground, shouting, "Aw!" Her face showed fear as she turned to see how long she could survive. At this moment, the Red Hood demon seemed frozen, motionless, without reaction. The one who did this was the young man standing on the gate. He continued to raise his hand to tear open a path in space. The gap gradually widened, and it connected directly behind the Red Hood demon, a tier in space. Wasting no time, he reached into the tier. Then his eyes flashed with murderous intent. Yanking back, the Red Hood demon's head was torn apart instantly, blood spraying everywhere. In the young man's palm, the demon's head remained intact, its neck still connected with the entire spine pulled out. The demon's body collapsed to the ground and slowly turned into dust. Witnessing this, others gaped in amazement, unable to believe their eyes. After dealing with the demon, the young man stepped down and said, "Hello, everyone has worked hard." He waved and smiled, saying, "From now on I will handle this. Everyone rest." The man was deeply moved, clenching his hands as he finally could rest. The girl behind ran over and asked quietly, "Captain, who is that?" He replied enthusiastically, "You are new, so you probably do not know him. He is the first in the Dust Gold Special Forces with the powers of the Rasad demon." Returning to the main matter, the young man with blue hair stretched and warmed up. Then he bent down, placing his hands on the ground. "Now let's finish them." That was Chief Jeong Il-do, the strongest Rasad demon power user at the moment. From where he placed his hands, numerous deep purple beams struck across the ground towards the gate. These beams penetrated every inch of the mountain towards the highest point. Then all of them shot up into the sky simultaneously, forming lightning bolts flashing brightly. Along with this, the full moon added to the grandeur of the scene. The mountain scene was bursting with countless purple lightning bolts that drew everyone's attention. A girl, shocked and stammering, asked, "Those black cracks, what are they?" The man beside her replied, "This is also the first time I've seen them. I heard he has spatial abilities. That's the strongest power, right?" The black cracks grew denser and denser. Il-do quickly stepped forward, raising his hand to tear open a large rift. From within the opening came sounds of groaning, screaming, and thick clouds of yellow dust. At the same time, on Mount Chungai in Seoul, a raging fire ignited, lighting up the entire sky. The flame, small at first, quickly spread through the forest, burning every tree around it, smoke rising thick into the air. The fire demon had now transformed into a more terrifying form, with sharp stones sprouting across its head and white smoke seeping from its body. The man with ice powers was in complete despair, his arm throbbing with unbearable pain, trembling constantly. Looking toward the fire demon standing before him, he muttered helplessly, "Is this really the end?" Saying that, he turned toward the girl with water powers urging, "Run, wake up." The fire demon let out a deafening roar that made him flinch and turn his head back. In that moment of surprise, he barely managed to raise his arm to form an ice shield to block the attack. But things didn't stop there. The fire demon went berserk, tightening its fists and pounding furiously toward the man. The more it struck, the more he weakened, one knee collapsing to the ground. The continuous blows hammered against the ice barrier until finally it cracked apart. After one more punch, the shield shattered completely, and the man took the full brunt of the fire demon's strike. His body was sent flying backward, rolling across the burning ground. His eyes flew open in shock, sweat pouring down as he thought, damn it all." At that moment, he had no other choice but to shield the girl with his body, wondering, am I really going to die like this? He shut his eyes tightly, awaiting his grim fate. But even after a while, nothing happened. Surprised, he slowly opened his eyes to glance ahead. Right in front of him, a space rift had been torn open, and the fire demon was being pulled violently backward. The one who saved him was none other than Ildu, his hand gripping the demon's head tightly. Before the demon could understand what was happening, its whole body was yanked away to another place. Its massive frame slammed into a large wall, dust exploding everywhere. Ildu didn't stop there. He landed a thunderous punch that triggered a massive explosion, shockwaves spreading all around. Seeing the fire demon lying motionless and unconscious, he finally sighed in relief and muttered, "Now then." The corner of Ildu's mouth curved into a satisfied smile as he raised his hand and shouted, "Time to handle the next area." Without hesitation, he spun his arm lightly, activating his full spatial power. All the glowing purple rifts shone brightly at once, shifting completely. On Mount Seolhak in the province of Wando, a sandstorm still raged thickly. Under the relentless assault of demons, the gifted fighters grew exhausted, pinned down under the weight of their foes. One demon pointed at him, speaking in strange words no human could understand. Suddenly, its arm extended like a spear, piercing straight through the man's body, making him scream in agony, "Ah!" Just when it seemed he would die, a spatial tear opened behind the demon. Before it could react, it was sucked in completely and vanished in an instant. The same scene repeated at Mount Madang in Gwangju, and at Mount Hanhwa on Jeju Island. Demons mid-battle were pulled in and disappeared, leaving the gifted ones stunned. What? Across countless other rifts, all the demons were being dragged toward a single point. Their bodies, unable to resist, were pulled helplessly into the void. Once the demons had gathered in one place, the spatial rifts quickly sealed shut, vanishing as though nothing had ever happened. At headquarters, the monitor shouted in shock, "Director, except for Busan, the golden sand everywhere else has disappeared." Hearing that, young Yoon finally exhaled in relief. No need to worry, that means he's already in Busan. Back at Ildu's location, his eyes flashed sharply as he glanced around. All around him, countless demons stood ready to attack. Ildu remained calm and steady, asking, "So you've all gathered here?" He smirked with satisfaction, then said, "Well, let's begin." The demons went mad, roaring loudly in unison. Taking that as a signal, they all charged at once. Their numbers were overwhelming enough to make any normal person tremble just from the sight. Their target was Ildu. But before they could even reach him, he raised his hand and froze the entire space in place. Without hesitation, he drew his finger across the air, unleashing a move called Space Slash. The cut sliced cleanly across every demon before they could react. Not stopping there, Ildu spun his hand, creating circular spatial slashes. When space returned to normal, every demon had been killed, not a single one left standing, blood soaking the earth red. Witnessing this, everyone nearby was left speechless, jaws hanging open. The girl thought in terror, what? I've never seen power like this before. Among all the demons, the fire demon still barely clung to life. Ildu walked over, kneeling to inspect it closely. Then he waved his hand and called out, "Interpreter, come here." Grabbing the demon's head, he pulled it up to face him. Then Ildu went straight to the point. Why have you all been pouring out like this for a week? The interpreter began translating its words. To bring him back. His eyes flickered with doubt as he asked, him, who? But the demon couldn't say the name, only mumbling endlessly. Who? The interpreter gave up. Besides, bring him back. It just repeats our words. Seeing there was nothing more to learn, Il-du frowned and threw the demon to the ground. Then there's no other choice. His expression darkened, his pupils glowing as he continued, I'll just kill every last one of you. Without hesitation, he executed it on the spot, blood splattering across his face. Once done, Il-du turned away, saying, now then. The next thing he would handle was the gate, the source of everything. I'll deal with that gate. With that, he crouched down and placed his hand on the ground. From where his palm touched, a violent surge of spatial power burst forth, glowing a brilliant purple. The ground split open into a deep, black rift stretching straight ahead. Its destination the gate. The entire area caved inward, and in the blink of an eye, the massive gate was swallowed by the void, leaving no trace behind. The gifted ones nearby stared in awe at Il-du's immense power, their admiration clear. A girl behind exclaimed, so cool, it's really reassuring to have him as our leader. Seeing his handsome face and commanding aura, they were even more amazed. They say he's around 50, but he doesn't look like it at all. After finishing the job, Il-du withdrew his hand. Everything returned to silence, the chaos gone as if nothing had happened. So that's spatial power. That night ended in peace. By the next morning, at Seoul headquarters, young Yoon walked in carrying a stack of documents, asking, you're back already? She coldly continued, what about the gate? Hearing that, Il-du straightened his tie and replied, I sealed it in my shadow space. Just the thought of it made young Yoon shiver. Ugh, even if I die, I don't want to go in there. He slumped into his chair with a groan. Ah, I'm so tired. She cut him off. Stop pretending. You always handle everything yourself. Il-du explained, even I have limits. Running an entire organization isn't easy. Before he could finish, she grabbed the remote and turned on the main screen, interrupting him. Here's the information you asked for. He responded. On the screen appeared a list of people who had just joined the organization. Young Yoon asked, confused, but why do you need info on this new recruit? He glanced briefly and answered, the Rakshasa demons are looking for someone. Scanning the list, all he saw were ordinary people, nothing suspicious. But when he reached the end, Il-du noticed Maru, his frightened face completely different from the rest. I want to know why. Meanwhile, in a dark dimension where the demons lived, they were gathered in dense ranks, each with grotesque forms. All their eyes were fixed on a colossal figure, dozens of times larger than the others. It had the body of a woman, curvaceous yet lacking arms and legs. The creature stood upright, gazing down upon the demons below. Above its head floated sharp stone fragments circling eerily. Suddenly, its eyes gleamed blue as it spoke in a cold, hellish voice, bring him back here, I need him. Here. At dawn, in a 2-story building located on an island where Maru had been summoned for an interview to join the Golden Dust Squad, after several days and nights of hesitation, he finally decided to return. Looking toward the building, he still couldn't shake off the psychological trauma. His expression darkened as he muttered, so I've come back here after all. In his mind, he imagined his mother bursting into tears of joy upon learning that he had found a job working for the government. My son has succeeded and become a civil servant. She emotionally patted his shoulder and said, now I can die without regrets. Seeing her proud and happy smile made Maru feel joyful as well. Seeing my mother cry like that makes me so happy. But could he really work here successfully? After a moment of hesitation, he finally stepped inside, and the first thing that caught his eye was a man with a drunken face and flushed cheeks saying, so you're here. But this time, the man didn't seem the least bit welcoming, turning around and walking away immediately. Why did you come here? I don't need a deserter like you. Startled, Maru stepped aside, covering his nose, wondering, is that alcohol I smell? As the man continued walking, he suddenly noticed someone standing ahead, smiling and waving. Oh, you're here too. The person standing there was none other than Xianwu. His expression darkened with anger as he glared and asked, "Captain, why wasn't I assigned to the Seoul headquarters, but to this Kangwa-do branch instead?" Hearing that, the captain smirked mockingly. "How should I know? Someone with such strong demonic power like you. Even I didn't think they would do that. What, do you have a problem with that decision?" Xianwu shouted furiously, "Captain." Not wanting to waste more time, the man turned back to Maru and said, "Anyway, since you're here, welcome to the team." Hearing those words, Maru's entire body stiffened. His eyes filled with anxiety as he thought, "It's finally time. What on earth is inside?" His imagination conjured a horrific image as the door opened a blindingly red space where a group of people were dissecting a demon's corpse with insane grins. Just imagining it made his legs weak and his mind go blank. While Maru was still dazed, a voice suddenly called out, "Pull." He snapped back to reality. "Hey, Han Maru." The voice belonged to the captain, who urged, "Are you not coming in?" Following the direction, Maru stepped inside, only to find the place completely different from what he had imagined. It was just an ordinary office with ordinary people diligently working. He scratched his head in surprise. This looks way different than I thought." The captain looked at him and introduced himself. "I should probably introduce myself first. I'm Go Deok Man, captain here, Go Deok Man, 41 years old, special civil servant for 12 years. He then pointed toward a short-haired woman nearby. "That's civil servant Yu Jai-won, 36 years old, special civil servant for 7 years. The man tending to the plants is civil servant Kim I-park, 51 years old, special civil servant for 7 years. Lastly, the young man with blue hair wearing headphones, civil servant Yu Hyuk, male, 21 years old, special civil servant for 1 year." After finishing the introductions, Deok Man waved his hand and winked. "All right, you two figure out the rest yourselves." Xianwu groaned in annoyance. While Maru sighed inwardly, what an irresponsible captain. Though still unsure of the situation, he sat down at his desk, thinking, "It's my first day here. I wonder what kind of work I'll be doing." He secretly glanced at the seat across from him, where an unpleasant, gloomy aura was radiating. The tension made him uneasy, his body stiff. Sitting opposite him was Xianwu, who, like Maru, seemed nervous on his first day. At least he had a companion sharing the same awkward start. After some hesitation, Maru decided to greet his new coworker. Might as well get acquainted. "Hello." Hearing his voice, Xianwu glanced back, but in an instant, his face twisted with rage, teeth grinding as if ready to devour someone. "What are you smiling at, bastard?" Maru froze in shock, unable to believe how unstable he was. Turns out Xianwu was still furious over being reassigned here. He couldn't accept that someone as capable as him had been sent to such a low-level branch. Maru sighed internally. "Why do I have such crazy teammates?" Seeing no point in talking further, he turned toward Yu Hyuk. "Hey, can I ask something?" Yu Hyuk removed his headphones. "What is it?" Maru asked. "How does the Kangwa-do unit operate?" Yu Hyuk thought seriously for a moment before replying. "Our Special Civil Service Division has 13 branches across the country, each responsible for their assigned regions. Those with high-ranking demonic powers are usually sent to critical areas where demons appear frequently. In less important areas like ours, where demons rarely show up, people work less and live more comfortably." He spun his chair lazily. "Basically, this place is for weaker employees." Maru finally understood why he had been assigned here. So that's the reason. But he still wondered, what kind of work do people here actually do? Surely they don't just sit around all day. Yu Hyuk added, "But don't think everyone here is useless. Many strong ones volunteer to come here too." Maru asked curiously, "Volunteer? Who?" Before Yu Hyuk could answer, the door suddenly opened, making them both turn. The person who entered was none other than Cha Na, the most powerful member here. Seeing her, Maru widened his eyes in surprise. She too stopped, startled. Before she could speak, Jai-won shouted angrily, "Officer Kang Cha Na, if you're on night duty, go home and shower before coming in." Cha Na quickly dried her hair, sat at her desk, and replied, "Go home for what? Might as well stay here. Going back is exhausting." Then her gaze fell on Maru and Yu Hyuk chatting together. She thought, so the newcomer has arrived. Seeing Maru's clueless face, she realized he remembered nothing about that day, so he really lost all memory of it. Meanwhile, Maru's conversation continued intensely. His mouth dropped open in shock. What? He couldn't believe his ears. Will get life risk allowance here. Of course, risking their lives fighting demons came with benefits. Yu Hyuk raised 5 fingers and said, "Of course, the life risk bonus for dangerous work like this is 5 times the regular salary." Maru froze again, mentally shouting, 5 times? That could reach millions of won. Before he could ask more, Yu Hyuk put his headphones back on. Enough questions, get to work. Maru pouted silently. What's with this attitude? Just a few questions. He noticed a massive alarm bell on the wall, realizing that was part of their job. Wait for the alarm to go off. Time passed quickly until afternoon. Sunlight streamed through the windows. It was already past 5, marking the end of the day for a civil servant. Maru relaxed, sipping coffee happily. Who would have thought this job would be this comfortable, high pay and all? Just then, Deok Man stretched after a long nap. Oh! He stepped out, waving to everyone. All right, wrap it up. His eyes fell on Maru. Newbie. He tilted his head toward Xianwu too. How was your first day? Xianwu's face remained dark, nothing special. Maru raised his hand. I have a question. What exactly are demons, and where do they come from? Deok Man scratched his head awkwardly. Well, no one really knows. Yu Hyuk stood up and added, just think of them as troublemakers we need to exterminate. Hearing such a vague answer, Maru was dumbfounded. So they don't even care about their origins. But maybe that made sense. Their job was to eliminate threats, not study them. He sighed, trying to reassure himself. I'm overthinking. Most people don't even know demons exist, yet they live fine. I'm a special civil servant. I should just focus on my duties. Despite being strangers, everyone here was oddly friendly. Huh, drinking, 2 rookies. Let's go grab a drink after work. Maru thought, this place is actually kind of fun. Meanwhile, at the Seoul headquarters, night had fallen but the lights remained off. Inside an elevator, Young Yoon carried a stack of files down to the basement. When the elevator reached level B, it stopped. She stepped into a secret room where someone was already waiting ill-due. He stood with his arms crossed, glancing at her. How's the situation? She handed him a report and replied, demon activity frequency has stabilized. Hearing that, he relaxed slightly. His gaze turned to the glass chamber before him. Inside was a swirling mass of golden dust, and within it, a human wearing a breathing device. Have you found out why their numbers suddenly increased? Young Yoon's face darkened. Isn't it because that day is coming? The person inside the chamber was indeed human, limbs bound tightly in iron chains. Il-Du replied, things are getting unpredictable. As he turned to leave, he reminded her, make sure all regional captains are prepared. The situation is unstable, and everyone must be ready for any unfavorable developments. Naturally, the news reached all the teams. Maru exclaimed in shock. What? The team was still enjoying grilled meat when the news broke. That day is coming. But no one seemed concerned. Jae-won clenched her fist determinedly. Even if it comes, we'll still live happily. What's the point of worrying to death? Though surprised, Maru still had no idea what that day meant. He turned to Deok Man and whispered, Captain, what is that day? Chewing his meat, Deok Man replied casually, they say on that day, demons will appear more frequently. Even low-activity areas like ours will have more work. That's what the senior special officers predicted. The more Maru heard, the less he could eat. So that means when that day comes, countless demons will appear. We're doomed. In contrast, Deok Man cheerfully added, that's classified information. Jae-won raised her glass and laughed. Whatever, just drink first. Park, being older, didn't care much, calmly sipping his drink. Yu Hyuk stared blankly at his phone, muttering, I just want to go home and sleep. Near them, Cha-na chewed her meat and warned, drink less. We've got work tomorrow. Xianwu still looked miserable. Just like that morning, why did I have to be reassigned here? The group clinked glasses and laughed loudly. Cha-na yelled, Captain, that's enough drinking. Maru sighed helplessly. Why is no one here worried? Meanwhile, on a large mountain, the pitch-black night sky suddenly lit up with a brilliant golden flash. A new gate appeared, spewing out thick clouds of golden dust. From within came chilling screams and groans. Soon, a hand with sharp claws slowly reached out. And not just one, but dozens of identical hands belonging to a demon of immense power. Behind the layer of golden sandstorm appeared the head of a demon, its veins bulging grotesquely, looking utterly repulsive. Instantly, the alarm sirens blared loudly. Everyone in Deok Man's team received the signal at the same time. Their expressions froze in shock as they exclaimed, Ah! Jai one sighed in frustration. So the demons have shown up already? The alarm's gone off. I didn't think it would happen this soon. Before anyone could even assign tasks, Cha-na stood up, tore off her apron, and volunteered, Let me go. Even though Xianwu was drunk out of his mind and barely conscious, when he heard there was a demon to hunt, he immediately spoke up. I'll go with you, senior. But she didn't agree, glancing sideways as she replied, No. Before Maru could even grasp what was going on, Cha-na suddenly pointed directly at him, Let Han Maru come with me. Moments later, on the main road, the wheels spun rapidly as Cha-na rushed toward the site where the demon had appeared as fast as she could. Unlike her, Maru was filled with anxiety, his mind tangled with thoughts. So that means there will be many demons appearing from now on. He sighed wearily. Just started the job and already facing this kind of crisis. I thought I'd only have to sit around and get paid. Just as that thought crossed his mind, Cha-na's voice suddenly called out, startling him, Civil servant Han Maru? He quickly replied, Yes. She continued, Stop thinking about what the captain said. Even so, Maru couldn't get those words out of his head and responded, But how can I not think about it? She reassured him, The higher-ups already have their countermeasures for that. There are plenty of strong people at headquarters, they'll handle it fine. As she spoke, her expression turned sharp with killing intent. We just need to do our job here, don't overthink. Just focus on killing every demon that appears in this area. Hearing that, Maru found her reasoning fairly convincing. It made sense, but he was still scared. Suddenly, her next words made his eyes sparkle emotionally as she praised. You possess a special ability unlike anyone else, so I'm really looking forward to seeing your performance. Maru blushed, sweat forming on his face as he thought, Special? It's the first time someone's ever praised me like that. In Cha-na's mind, the image of Maru devouring a demon's flesh that day resurfaced, astonishing her. I've never seen anyone with demonic power like yours. But hearing that, Maru looked utterly confused since he himself didn't even know what his ability was. My demonic power. He recalled the first demon he'd encountered on the mountain and how he'd survived, so the reason I defeated that demon back then was because of this special power. Unable to resist his curiosity, he asked, So what exactly is my demonic power? Cha-na turned to him with a smile and said, Your demonic power is devour. Simply put, you kill and eat demons literally. The moment those words left her mouth, Maru's face went pale with shock, his eyes vacant. He couldn't believe what he had just heard and asked again, That's my demonic power. After traveling a while longer, they finally reached the location where the demon had appeared. It opened its mouth and roared loudly, but before it could close it again, a wooden stake flew from somewhere, piercing straight through and tearing its tongue apart in an instant. The one who had done it was none other than Cha-na, who shouted sharply, Shut up. Staring at the demon with its slimy skin, Maru turned away nauseated and asked, So I'm supposed to eat this thing now? She smiled and replied cheerfully, That's right, if you eat them, they won't be able to regenerate. Cha-na pinned the demon tightly against a large tree and urged him, So go ahead and try eating it. To confirm his ability, Maru reluctantly grabbed one of its arms and thought, All right, if I can really do this, it won't be able to heal. With such a power I have to use it to my advantage. He began imagining the demon's arm as just a tentacle of an ordinary octopus. Just think of it as an octopus and eat. Without hesitating further, he opened his mouth wide and bit into its arm. All right, let's eat. But the slimy, disgusting texture instantly made him stop. Seeing the tiny tooth marks he left on the demon's arm, Cha-Na trembled in frustration and yelled, "Hey, I told you to eat it. What are you doing?" Maru turned his face away and protested, "But it's too gross, I can't." Refusing to give up, she pushed again, "Hurry up." Maru had no choice but to take another bite. "Yes, ma'am." And so, that horrifying night finally passed. The next morning at headquarters, Maru lay slumped over his desk, looking lifeless. "I'm done for." Xianwu peeked over and asked, "Hey newbie, how was your first demon fight? You look like death warmed over." Hearing his mocking tone, Maru's ears twitched in irritation. "What I do has nothing to do with you." Xianwu barked back, "It does. Because of a weakling like you, I had to stay home. Someone as powerful as me stuck here because of you. How do you think that feels?" His finger trembled with anger as he continued, "Officer Kang seems to be giving you special treatment. That's why I'm pissed, you understand." Before Maru could respond, Xianwu turned and stormed out. "You're such a failure." Unable to hold it in, Maru shot up and shouted, "Don't go too far." Though his words came from anger, he knew there was some truth in them. He really was a failure, bad at everything. Just then, the alarm lights flashed red, blaring loudly. Hearing it, Cha-Na stood up immediately, glancing at Maru's desk and calling out, "Han Maru." But when she looked closely, he wasn't there anymore. The desk was empty. At that very moment, inside the men's restroom, Maru had locked himself in, hiding to avoid another demon hunting mission. Oh man! Sitting there clutching his throbbing head, he tried to calm himself down. "You have to stay calm. But why can't I bring myself to eat those demons?" After thinking it over for a while, he finally stopped torturing himself, sighing deeply. "This is exhausting." He dragged his tired body out of the restroom, muttering, "If every day's like this, I'll never survive." He thought it was over, but just a few steps outside, he ran straight into Cha-Na. She shouted, "Hey, where do you think you're going?" Maru flinched in shock. "Ah geez." Her eyes sharp with judgment, she asked, "You were hiding in the restroom, weren't you?" Realizing he'd been caught, he nervously looked away and explained, "I just ate too much yesterday, got indigestion. My stomach's not doing great." Before he could say more, Cha-Na let out a long sigh, confusing him. She said calmly, "I think this job doesn't suit you." Maru froze. "Huh," she continued, "even with demonic power, many people fail to become special civil servants. Those people live as normal citizens but under the supervision of the Special Civil Service Council." Hearing that, Maru was shocked. Supervision. That doesn't sound good. Cha-Na closed her eyes and explained, "It's better than being weak and dying on duty. What do you think is better, living under watch or dying?" Then she added something that made Maru reconsider everything. "The bigger issue is that your weakness could cause mission failure. And when that happens, others will die because of you, not just you alone." She spoke sincerely, "So if you think you can't handle this job, it's better to resign voluntarily." After saying that, she stepped closer, leaning near his ear and whispered, "Since you're already here, I'll be honest, if you weren't, others with stronger abilities would have been assigned instead." Those words struck the deepest part of Maru's heart. His eyes widened, speechless. As Cha-Na walked away, he remained frozen in place. His mind was shaken, and he knew he had to make a choice for himself. Back in the office, Deok Man poked his head out and called, "Han Maru, where'd you go? It's work hours. Where is that kid?" Only Cha-Na seemed to know the meaning behind it. Maru had given up. Not far away, on a bridge crossing a large river crowded with traffic, Maru stood alone, gazing into the distance, lost in thought. He tried to comfort himself as he stretched and walked slowly. "Giving up that stupid pride means I can live peacefully. Like she said, if I just accept being monitored, I can live my whole life safely. That's better than dying." With that, he decided to call his mother. "All right, I'll call Mom and tell her I quit." After a few rings, the call connected. Since that day was coming soon and demon activity would rise, survival would be harder. Standing still, Maru spoke seriously into the phone. Mom, I have something to tell you. But before he could continue, he paused and asked, Where are you going, Mom? It turned out his mother was out hiking with friends. She replied, Oh, I'm at Inwang Mountain. Hearing that, Maru slapped his forehead and shouted, Mom, don't go hiking. That place is dangerous, I told you. But she couldn't hear him clearly because the signal was weak. Huh, what are you saying? The signal's bad here. Just then, she suddenly noticed that golden dust had begun to fill the air around her, obscuring her view. Oh, why is there so much golden dust on this mountain? The moment those words left her mouth, Maru's body froze, eyes wide with terror. What? Before he could say another word, the call dropped. The connection was lost. But before it ended, he was sure he had heard her say golden dust. She said there's golden dust there. At the Inwang Mountain operation site, demons had indeed appeared. The special agents split up, searching cautiously. Stay sharp. A 5th-rank demon has shown up. Just as one man said that, he noticed a young recruit standing frozen in place. Huh. He walked over, placed a hand on his shoulder, and asked, Rookie, what's wrong? Following the young man's gaze, both of them recoiled in horror. Perched on a branch above them was a grotesque creature. In its hand was a human arm that it was gnawing on greedily. Its sharp teeth tore through flesh, blood splattering dark red everywhere. On its forehead was a gleaming mirror reflecting the blinding sunlight. Just thinking about those hideous demons made Maru lose all composure. He dashed toward Inwang Mountain to save his mother. No, Mom. No, Mom. After a while fighting the demon, the situation seemed to change for the worse. The centipede man sat trembling on the ground, his teeth clenched tightly together with a terrified look in his eyes. Right before him, all the Aspers had been killed by the mirror demon. It was still gnawing fiercely on the arm of a man. It was only a 5th-grade demon. The situation grew increasingly dangerous. At this rate, the civil servant team on Mount Inwang would be annihilated. In that moment, one man decided to stand up to stop the mirror demon. Rescue had come too late. The centipede man called softly, Captain. In an instant, that man used his support clone ability, creating countless versions of himself. Recruit, go call the support team from Seoul headquarters. Hurry. Without hesitation, he turned and ran fast, replying, Yes, Captain, I understand. Inside the restricted zone, the dust and sand kept thickening strangely, showing that the demon's power this time was not to be underestimated. Faintly hanging in the sand cloud above the steel fence was a telephone. The centipede man quickly pressed the number to call for backup. Inside the flow of golden sand, mobile phones could not work, so they had to use this phone booth instead. Scene shifted to Seoul headquarters. The call was quickly connected. Young Yoon, with a serious face, spoke. The exploration team at Mount Inwang just called requesting our support. She pointed at the map while continuing, If the demons leave the yellow zone and move into the green zone, civilians could be in danger. On the streets, the poor, unaware civilians still strolled around happily. She urged, Therefore we must go support them immediately. Facing the mirror demon with terrifying power slaughtering people indiscriminately, ordinary humans could never stand against it. A tragic scene would unfold. Blood would splatter everywhere. Even the child who was just laughing earlier would be killed by the mirror demon. Thinking of this, young Yoon raised her hand and shouted loudly, There is no time left. In front of her, a large number of Aspers had gathered, all lined up in formation. All of you, head there immediately to provide aid. Back at the foot of Mount Inwang, a taxi sped and stopped by the forest edge. From the car Maru jumped out, shouting, Thank you, sir. But as he ran further, he saw chains stretched all around along with warning signs. The mountain path was temporarily closed. He tried looking through the crowd to find any trace of his mother, but saw nothing. Maru turned to the people nearby again, despair filling him. His mother was not there, meaning she was still trapped on the mountain. He ran to an Asper and shouted, Hey sir, please let me through. My mother is trapped up there. But of course the man refused, shaking his head. No, the situation is very dangerous right now. No one can go through here, there are wild animals around. Others might believe that, but Maru knew everything. Wild animals? What nonsense, there were demons here, damn it. With no other choice, Maru decided to take his own path, climbing up the cliff out of sight of the guards. His hands struggled to grip the rough layers of dirt. At this moment he felt no fear, only worry for his mother's safety. Mom, please stay safe until I reach you. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, the storm of golden sand had not stopped but seemed to grow stronger. A woman sat there with swollen feet, saying, "What should we do now?" The one who spoke was Maru's mother's friend. She continued in pain, "The golden sand blocked my sight so I cannot see ahead." As she finished, she saw Maru's mother turning her back to her. Maru's mother said firmly, "All right then, I will carry you Bin's mother myself." Just as she said that, through the sand cloud, she spotted a faint figure climbing up the cliff. She strained her eyes to see clearly as the dust gradually faded. Her eyebrows arched in confusion. After a moment, finally, a human hand reached out from the sand. Seeing who it was, her eyes widened in shock and worry. It was Maru who had climbed up, his whole body trembling as he looked toward his mother, calling, "Mom." Seeing her son there, she still did not understand what was happening, asking, "Maru, what are you doing up there? Why did you come here?" He took out his phone showing a photo of her and her friend, replying, "I saw it on Facebook, so I came." But that was not what his mother was curious about. She asked again, "But how did you even get down here?" Looking at her son standing precariously on the cliff, she grew even more worried. "Be careful not to fall." Yubin's mother came closer and praised, "Is this your son who passed the civil service exam?" She cheerfully waved her hand. "Yes, that is him. Now he has a stable job. All that is left is to get married. But it seems he has not found anyone yet." Seeing them chatting even at a time like this, Maru shouted, "Mom, be careful. This is not the time for that. Get down the mountain quickly before something appears." The words had barely left his mouth when disaster struck. His instincts screamed that the strange creature had arrived. Acting on reflex, he looked up at the tree canopy and saw a shadow standing there watching them. The demon had come. On its head was a shining mirror fragment. It was the mirror demon that had killed all the Aspurs earlier. And right now, it was targeting Maru, making him freeze in fear. His heartbeat skipped. His breathing turned shallow. What should he do? The situation was too dangerous. The mirror demon still sat there waiting for the right moment to strike. Maru had never faced such a fierce demon before. He clenched his chest, thinking, "Someone as weak as me. How can I save Mom?" Standing below the cliff, seeing her son's strange expression, his mother called, "Hey, what is wrong? Be careful or you will fall." As soon as she finished, Maru stumbled and fell forward. Witnessing this, she panicked, eyes wide open shouting, "Maru, be careful." Since the demons had no eyes and located targets by sound, the moment it heard her voice, it locked onto her position. Without hesitation, the mirror demon kicked off the branch and dove straight down where she was standing. At the same time, Maru was falling beside it. His eyes widened in shock, reaching for his mother but failing. He tumbled, hitting the rock face with a cry. "Ah!" Terrified, he gasped, "Oh no, it might be too late." The mirror demon was right before his mother, only an arm's length away. Its mouth opened wide, showing sharp teeth and a deafening roar. Seeing this creature for the first time, she was terrified, stumbling backward speechless. Suddenly, because Maru had hit his face earlier, his nose started bleeding. Then, at the most critical moment, a loud sound erupted. The mirror demon fell stiff to the ground. Seeing that, even Maru could not understand, eyes blank, saying, "Huh?" Looking closer, he saw 3 stone daggers stuck in the demon's back. Where had those come from? But before he could process it, his mother looked at him in shock, asking, "What is that on your head?" Hearing that, he too was confused, looking up. "Huh?" And then Maru was stunned to see several stones floating above his head in a circle. He waved his hand trying to get rid of them, but could not. "Why are there so many daggers above me?" As he said that, a memory flashed in his mind, the image of a demon with floating stones, exactly like these. "Huh?" This looks like the ability that demon used. Before he could think further, pain surged through his body, making him grit his teeth. Something on his back was moving, trying to break out. It crawled up along his spine and tore through his skin near his shoulders, revealing another sharp stone. Once free, it floated up to join the others above his head. To test it, Maru raised his hand, and the stone slowly followed the movement of his fingers. Shocked, he thought, how can I use that demon's ability? He knew his skill was that when he ate monster meat, they could not resurrect. But now a question arose. Could it be that he also absorbed their powers? The most important thing now was to protect his mother. If he could control this power, he could defeat the demon. The mirror demon still lay motionless on the ground, seemingly weakened after being hit by the daggers. But why had these demons appeared on Mount Inwang? Meanwhile, in the restricted zone, an Esper sat leaning against the steel fence, hands trembling. Suddenly a figure dressed neatly approached. It was the centipede man who had been waiting for rescue. A voice startled him. Are you all right? Standing before him were two men, one in a blue suit, one in red, saying, We are staff from Seoul headquarters. Please stay calm. The short-haired man with a cold gaze asked, How strong was that demon? And where is your team? Having witnessed everything, the centipede man could not suppress his fear. His lips trembling, that demon was strong. It wiped out my whole team. The bald man rubbed his chin in thought and said, The whole team? But your captain had a 7th grade ability. How did he lose? Hearing this, the short-haired man grew more suspicious. That 5th grade demon should not have been special. Recalling the shiny mirror on its head, he muttered, Mirror. Back to Maru, he also noticed something strange shining on the demon's head. It looked reflective. As soon as he said that, the mirror demon suddenly reacted, its back arching grotesquely. Then countless stones tore through its rough skin, emerging outside. So this was the mirror demon. It could mimic the powers of Espers. Witnessing this, Maru gasped, Before he could react, a barrage of sharp stones shot toward him like bullets. All of them pierced through his body, knocking him backward. One stone even embedded into his face. Blood gushed dark red from his mouth. Maru's entire body was covered with wounds big and small, blood continuously oozing out. His eyes blankly wondered, so it uses the same demonic power as me. It has copied my skills. The mirror demon began to slowly stand up and step toward Maru. The mirror on its head was still flashing, reflecting the image of him sitting there with a terrified face. But now there was no time to think. Maru quickly calmed down and clenched the stone embedded in his face. Then he endured the pain and pulled it out loudly. Not stopping there, he continued to pull out all the stone shards embedded in his arms, legs, and body, thinking, It is the mirror demon. There was no longer any doubt. It had just copied Maru's abilities. It has the power to imitate opponents. Thinking of this, he stood right in front of it, slowly raising his hand. Then Maru pressed 2 fingers together to make a heart at the mirror demon to see how it would react. And the result was exactly as he thought. His action was accurately imitated. But looking at its appearance, Maru could not help shivering and said, It looks terrifying. Suddenly from behind, Yubin's mother looked at the wound on Maru's mother's leg and asked, Maru's mother, are you okay? Hearing that, he anxiously ran to her and asked, Mother, are you okay? Because of the previous attack from the monster, she was also slashed on the knee, blood continuously oozing. Normally human wounds in this golden sand could not heal. Her face clearly showed pain as she asked, Son, you are bleeding, be careful. Seeing that even now his mother still worried about him, Maru lifted his shirt to reveal his intact body. The wounds had disappeared. It's okay, mother. I'm not hurt. He needed to protect his mother here. No one else could help her. Thinking that, Maru glanced at the mirror demon standing there. No matter what it took, he had to take down that monster. Wasting no more time, he urged, Mother, run quickly. Leave everything to me. Hearing this, she panicked and asked, What? Maru gave a confident smile to reassure her. I am a special officer protecting the people, mother. Then he slowly advanced into the golden sandstorm and affirmed, I will come back later. Maru stomped on the ground to gain momentum. Then he did not hesitate and rushed toward the mirror demon. Fear disappeared because he had to protect his loved ones. Without sight, the mirror demon could not react in time, and its whole body was dragged behind by Maru. It tensed, opened its mouth full of fangs, and roared loudly. Maru also shouted, facing this disgusting demon. Both fell down the cliff together with nothing else to do. Standing above, looking at his son falling with that monster, Maru's mother ran up in fear and called, "Maru." But it was too late. The moment she finished, she could no longer see him. Only a thick layer of golden sand covered the view. Below the cliff, Maru was lying gasping with numerous wounds, his leg broken and bent to the side. Not stopping there, he tried to sit up, clenching his lips against the pain. Being a special human, Maru's wounds healed extraordinarily fast. Even his broken foot was restored. He stood up, looking down at the mirror demon lying twisted below, thinking, "I have to lead this monster away from Mother. If it stayed here it could harm her." He needed to wait for the rescue team. At the same time, from two men from the Seoul headquarters, the sandstorm thickened strangely, surprising them. What is this? In their sight, from afar, a large number of mirror demons appeared slowly advancing in enormous numbers. They were identical, completely the same as if cloned. The short-haired man pointed repeatedly at the mirror demons and asked in shock, "How can they all look the same?" The bald man thought then answered, "It seems they are mirror demons, so they have the ability to clone themselves." And indeed it was true. Copying the cloning skill of the special human, now it had created more versions of itself to confront humans. But he was not very worried, calmly deciding, "Okay, the main thing now is to find their original form, to act. As long as we eliminate the original, they will all be destroyed." But before he could finish, the man in the red suit shouted fiercely, "Guess what? Just charge and eliminate them all." Saying that, he disappeared from his position. In the blink of an eye, his fist was clenched and aimed straight at the mirror demons. Because the punch was so fast, the demons could not react, only staring. The ground was instantly torn up, rocks flying everywhere. The mirror demons shared the same fate, being flung into the air. Witnessing this, the bald man was speechless, shaking his head, truly an action without thinking. Looking at the demons being brutally hit, he could confirm none of them were the original. Apparently there was no original among them, so where is the real monster? And of course the real monster was with Maru. It opened its mouth wide to let the golden sand flow inside its body. Receiving that amount of sand, all its wounds quickly healed significantly. On its head sharp stones hovered, forming a circle. Seeing the mirror demon restored as before, Maru could not help being startled. That bastard recovered too fast. Just thinking that, he dragged his battered body back. Not okay. Before he could take a few steps, a familiar voice rang from behind. "Maru, you are hurt." Hearing that, Maru realized it was his mother's voice, but coming from the demon, he angrily pointed at it and shouted, "Bastard, do not imitate my mother like that." In his uncontrolled anger, he accidentally activated the daggers on his head, shooting straight at the mirror demon. He thought it would be a critical hit, but no, all the attacks missed and embedded in the ground. Seeing this, Maru was terrified, regretting what he had done. He threw the dagger aside. Very quickly, the demon began to counterattack, controlling a finger to aim a stone at him. Then, with a slight flick, the stone shot like a bullet cutting through the air. The strike was extremely precise, piercing Maru's shoulder. He could not react in time. The pain hit, causing him to ache, veins bulging on his face, gritting his teeth to endure. Without rest, Maru aimed down at the mirror demon and shouted, but this time he hit. Immediately, a series of sharp stones pierced its body, causing it to scream in pain. Maru happily laughed triumphantly. "Die." Before he could enjoy the moment, the demon pulled the stone out of its shoulder. Then from the wound, golden sand kept flowing in to regenerate its body. In an instant the wound closed and disappeared as if nothing had happened. Witnessing this astonishing recovery speed, Maru said, "But it is a demon, so it heals too fast. This is difficult." just thinking that the words Cha Na had said before appeared in his mind. Back in the match that day, Kang Cha Na looked at Maru and asked, "Did you not hear what I said?" Maru truly could not endure lying exhausted on the ground, hands on his forehead, breathing heavily. He wiped the sweat on his face and replied, "It seems my physique is not good. Fighting monsters is too hard." But Cha Na did not give up. She raised her hand, surprising him. Maru held her hand to sit up. She continued, "Because you were scared. You gave the monsters a chance." Cha Na reminded, "In golden sand our wounds heal faster." Although knowing that, Maru still felt fear inside, saying, "Wherever it is hurt, it still hurts. If I let them not recover, I have to eat them." But thinking of that, before he could finish, a force rushed like it wanted to crush his arm. "Ah, sorry. I will try harder. No more complaining." Maru began to change the topic, asking, "But is there any way to defeat those demons?" Cha Na rubbed her chin, thinking a while, and replied, "You need to cut its neck, so it cannot produce golden sand. But honestly, you only have the ability to assist others, not enough damage to confront the demons." She smiled, pointing at Maru, and added, "In return, your healing ability is quite good." Receiving this compliment, he blushed shyly. Cha Na reminded, "So when fighting demons, do not be too afraid." Returning to the present, Maru wiped the blood on his face, thinking, "Right, I have a pretty good healing ability. Why be afraid of it?" Not only that, now he could counterattack. Thanks to skill copying, Maru now had damage as well. Below the cliff, the mirror demon had not given up trying to climb up, but just getting used to the dagger skill, so the accuracy was not very high. Maru stared at it with determined eyes. He needed to focus more. Yet again the mirror demon imitated his mother's voice. "What is wrong, Maru?" Without hesitation, he clenched a sharp stone on his head. Now this was the only way. Thinking of this, his other hand swung, controlling a series of stones to shoot down at the mirror demon crawling. But of course it did not stand still, moving swiftly to dodge all attacks. Taking advantage of its distraction, Maru jumped straight down in front of it. He still held a stone, intending a direct strike. If he could not throw the daggers accurately, he would just jump and stab directly. Maru's eyes flashed with determination. His hand clenched tightly around the sharp stone aimed straight at the mirror demon. Facing this strike, it did not dodge at all, but stood still as if waiting for something. The more Maru looked at his attack, the more confident he became, smiling brightly, thinking, "I won." But before he could celebrate for a few seconds, suddenly the mirror demon opened its mouth and bit the stone, stopping the strike. Maru's eyes widened in shock. He exclaimed, "Huh, it blocked it, my critical strike." While he was still confused, a hand suddenly grabbed him. The mirror demon squeezed Maru's neck with such force that he could barely breathe. The air grew thinner, making him cough violently, mouth open, seeking a chance to live. Seeing him struggling, the mirror demon became even more excited, imitating his mother's voice. "Huh, why Maru?" Having said that, it grabbed a stone from the cliff, then used the momentum to leap up, dragging Maru along. Because the mirror demon was squeezing his neck, he could not react, only struggling to endure. Not stopping there, it slammed Maru down onto the ground. The impact shattered the earth and rocks into pieces, dust rising in clouds. The last weak air in Maru's throat was also running out, tears streaming, hands trembling. "I cannot breathe." In that moment, he decided to use his ability. Biting his lip to create a bleeding wound, must use the devouring skill. No more time, act quickly. Through the reflection in the mirror on the demon's head, it flashed again, and it seemed Maru's skill had been copied. Without hesitation, it opened its mouth wide and bit a large chunk out of his neck. The pain made Maru lose consciousness, screaming wildly. In that moment, he reached behind and grabbed a sharp stone just protruding from his flesh. Taking advantage of the mirror demon's distraction, he drove it straight into its neck, forcing it to release him. Finally, Maru could breathe again. Quickly pressing his hand on the neck wound, escaped. But before he could celebrate, he saw the mirror demon gnawing on something and swallowing it. Maru's mind went into chaos, face pale with fear. What is that? His vision blurred, spinning like a top. Blood keeps flowing. Cannot heal. As he had suspected, the neck wound could not heal even in the golden sand, blood gushing soaking his white shirt. At this moment, Maru realized, could this monster also copy his devouring ability? Looking at the blood in his palms, he felt even more desperate. Losing so much blood, how long can I last? The mirror demon kept approaching. No time left. If Maru fell, what would happen? In his haze, Cha-na's voice appeared, shouting, "Wake up!" Seeing him lying on the ground, she asked frustrated, "How many times have you fainted?" Maru had to confess the illness he had long hidden. "No, it is anxiety disorder, uncontrollable." He clenched his chest, continuing, "I feel tightness and shortness of breath, as if I am about to die." Hearing this, Cha-na leaned down, interrupting, "Then you must overcome it. If you cannot, the feeling of impending death will become reality." She gave him a solution. "Imagine I am the last line of defense and fight. If you fall, your mother will be in danger." Back in reality, Maru's mother in the forest kept calling for him, "Maru, Maru." Surrounded by thick dust, she could not see him, only calling loudly as she moved, "Maru, my child." Thanks to her voice, he finally snapped awake. Maru's face was pale, sweat pouring down. But now he would not give up, hand gripping the sharp stone, tearing his palm and bleeding. The mirror demon mirrored him, holding a stone as if waiting for Maru to charge. Remembering Cha-na's words, he drew motivation. Even if he dies, he must defeat the mirror demon. Thinking that, Maru bit his lip, making it bleed. Then without hesitation, he charged at the demon shouting. The mirror demon did the same, charging madly with jaws full of fangs, showing its dominance. They collided like moths to a flame, the mirror on its head still blazing. Finally, the mirror demon struck first, thrusting the sharp stone straight at Maru. The stab pierced his ribs, sending pain throughout his body, trembling violently. Tears streamed down, but he gritted his teeth, enduring. Without hesitation, he swung his hand, flinging the stone high into the air. However, at a certain height, the stone hovered motionless. The mirror demon stared at Maru, imitating his mother. "Why Maru?" Uncertain of his thoughts, he suddenly looped his arms behind the demon, pulling it close. Maru exerted all his strength to hold it, not letting it escape. At that moment, a series of sharp stones embedded in dry branches, and the ground suddenly shifted, wriggling as if trying to break free. In a blink, they all shot outward in unison. The direction they aimed was precisely where Maru and the mirror demon stood. The stones pierced the demon, causing pain, yet it could not escape Maru's grip. Its mouth opened wide, head thrown back, the mirror on its forehead flashing. It had copied skills and used the stones to attack Maru, piercing his body. Despite the intense pain, he did not give up, gritting his teeth, controlling the remaining stones. As he expected, the mirror demon was cut apart, limbs severed, body flying in all directions. Not stopping there, a critical strike shot at lightning speed. The strike pierced the demon's neck, decapitating it on the spot. Before it could react, its head rolled on the ground, tongue lolling. Maru relaxed, letting go of the demon, its body collapsing behind him. He sat exhausted, still with sharp stones embedded in him. At this moment he could not believe he had defeated such a terrifying mirror demon. Breathing heavily, I won. Maru lay down facing the bloodied corpse of the demon. Meanwhile, in the forbidden area, the bodies of the clone mirror demons disintegrated into dust, surprising the man in the red suit. He looked at the battered demon in his hands, suddenly dead, and asked, "The demons are disappearing. Have we eliminated the original?" The bald man stood frozen and replied, "No, the original was destroyed elsewhere." This made him even more curious. Who killed its original? After the mirror demon was defeated, Maru's neck wound finally healed. Touching it, he found it gone. The demon was dead, so his wound was healing, fortunately. Even after killing it, thinking back, Maru shivered. "This time I almost died." Thinking that, he decided to turn and go home to his mother. She must be worried. But before he could take a few steps, suddenly a figure stood behind him and said, "Eat, eat." Startled, he turned, frightened. The man pointed at him and commanded, "Eat." Seeing this, Maru could not believe his eyes, recoiling, thinking, why do forgotten memories return? And the one speaking was none other than his father. "Father, why did you force me to eat that thing? What is it?" Thinking of that, Maru froze, staring at the demon's body. That mirror demon was really strong, its power strange. A primal instinct compelled him to step forward, devour it. He could absorb its power through devouring. Maru recalled Deok Man's words before. In a year, the demons will pour down like rain, a prophecy from a special officer. When that day comes, to protect his mother, Maru must be stronger. With no time to think, he made a decision, sitting by the demon's corpse. Maru's eyes flashed coldly, grabbing its severed arm. Then, without further words, he began to savagely bite and tear the mirror demon's arm. He chewed thoroughly and swallowed, no longer feeling disgust. Maru's eyes suddenly glowed golden, wiping the blood from his mouth. From now on, any strong demon, Maru must eat. Thus, his fear vanished, determination driving him to become stronger to protect those he loved. At Seoul National University Forest Hospital, everything had finally returned to normal. Inside the hospital room, Maru's mother exclaimed in astonishment, "They said I fainted on the mountain." However, after saying that, she appeared calm as if she remembered nothing. Chewing an apple as she continued, "I don't remember anything." Seeing that his mother had forgotten everything, Maru felt somewhat relieved. "Really, you don't remember anything?" He recalled the horrifying scene at that time and silently felt lucky. Ah, thank goodness. At the moment when the mirror demon was about to catch her, no, it's too late. She could not remember any of those things. Because of the sandstorm, she remembered nothing that happened on the mountain. To make his mother more cautious and not climb the mountain again, Maru took out his phone showing the news, a forest fire on Mount Inwang. Some hikers were injured. Here, he worriedly reminded her, "Mom, I told you already, from now on don't go up the mountain anymore." Hearing that, she looked a bit sad and disappointed as she replied, "But I said I saw someone who looked like your father on Mount Inwang. That's why I went up there." That sentence made Maru freeze, thinking to himself, come to think of it, Dad also went missing on the mountain. Could it be because of the demon? Just as he thought that, a scene suddenly flooded into his mind, on a large familiar mountain. At that time, he was still a child standing in the forest with a terrified face, unable to utter a sound as he stared straight ahead. Right before Maru's eyes, blood was dripping down in drops sticking onto his pale face from fear. Not only that, the blood kept flowing, staining the ground, while golden dust rose up thickly all around. The man looked seriously injured, blood continuously gushing from his mouth. And what Maru saw was the horrifying sight of his father being bitten tightly by a terrifyingly grotesque demon. His mind was in turmoil, his head spinning like a whirlwind. Maru himself couldn't understand why that memory appeared in his head. What was that just now? Such a strange memory. While Maru was still standing dazed, a voice called out, pulling him back to reality. "Maru, Maru." He startled and responded, "Huh." It turned out the one calling him was his mother. Seeing that her son looked unwell, she worriedly asked, "Why do you look so pale?" Compassion was clear on her face. "You've been tired lately, right? Work is too hard, isn't it?" Seeing his mother worrying about him, Maru immediately returned to his usual self, scratching his head as he replied, "It's okay, don't worry, I think I've gotten used to work now." After taking care of his mother, Maru decided to return to work to start again. However, before he could step in, a loud voice shouted, "Specialist Han Maru." Hearing that commanding voice, he fearfully hid behind the door, not daring to enter yet. How did they know my name? But after taking a deep breath, Maru still decided to push the door open and walk in stammering. "Hello, good morning." The one shouting in anger was Jai-won. She furiously asked, "Good morning what? Where did you go yesterday without saying a word?" Sitting nearby, Seonwoo interrupted, clearly. As he spoke, he glanced at Maru with a mocking smile. You ran away out of fear, didn't you? But what he said was completely true, so Maru couldn't refute it. He could only bow his head and apologize. Sorry. Suddenly Chadna stood up and explained, "Oh, I forgot to mention. I wasn't feeling well, so I told him to go home." Hearing her words, Maru was shocked. His eyes widened in surprise. She also glanced at him, signaling to stay quiet. The more Jai-won listened, the more upset she became, scratching her head in frustration and shouting, "What? Are you joking? Is there anything else you don't remember?" Chapna lowered her head. "I'm sorry." The two couldn't hold back, continuing to argue non-stop. "You think saying sorry fixes everything? Your work is a mess. I've done my best to support you, and yet, I've never been supported by anyone." As soon as those words ended, suddenly a loud red alert blared, indicating that demons had appeared on the mountain again. Without hesitation, Chadna grabbed her coat and said, "Level 2, we'll talk about this later." Immediately, Maru also jumped up shouting, "I'm going to." His words left everyone in the office frozen in disbelief, unable to believe their ears. The coward was now volunteering to go fight demons. A while later on the mountain, everyone had arrived. Because demons often appeared at the high summit, the team had to climb up there to find them. Maru followed right behind Cha-na, stammering, "Hey, I'm sorry about earlier. You were scolded because of me." But she didn't mind and interrupted, "Because I spoke harshly, that's why you left." Then she curiously asked, "So why did you come back?" Gasping for breath, Maru spoke his resolve, "Because I'm ready to fight." Seeing that his eyes and words weren't a joke, Cha-na, though surprised, said nothing more. Ahead of them, a thick layer of golden dust covered the air, faintly revealing a huge figure slowly walking. Each of its steps was heavy, shaking the ground with every stride. Soon the demon revealed itself, with a gigantic wobbly belly shaking violently. It ran while twisting its body, speaking in a deep, rough voice, "Fight." Seeing that ridiculous demon, Cha-na still warned, "Don't think a level 2 is easy to deal with." She continued, "Even the Inwang team full of experienced members was wiped out by a level 5 demon." Hearing that, Maru exclaimed, "Huh, the same demon you defeated yesterday." Yu Hyuk stepped forward calmly adding, "Good thing the Soul team arrived in time to handle it," which made Maru even more astonished. He added, "I heard that was a group of monsters all with power level 7 or higher, terrifying." It seemed no one knew the truth, and only Maru knew the real reason that monster died. I went through so much to defeat it." Although he was extremely distressed, he could not say it out loud, could not shout to let everyone know that he was the one who had defeated that mirror demon. Because he had left on his own, he did not dare to utter a word. He wanted to be recognized by everyone so badly. Just as he thought this, Cha-na's eyes suddenly showed confusion as she asked, "What is that Lasat doing?" At this moment, the demon kept thrusting its hand straight into its own armpit, rubbing as if it was doing something. "Why does it keep rubbing its armpit?" Before she could understand, Maru volunteered to step forward and raised his hand to stop everyone. He seriously approached the demon and said, "Both of you move aside a bit, let me handle it." Seeing his stance, Cha-na still could not believe her eyes and said, "Huh." Yu Hyuk also looked confused and asked, "You are level 1, so how can you fight a level 2 Lasat?" However, thanks to the spectacular battle with the mirror demon yesterday at level 5, Maru gained even more confidence and pointed at himself. "It is me." Seeing Maru standing in front, the demon was somewhat startled and paused. Before it could understand what was happening, he lifted all his hair, revealing a shiny forehead. It turned out that because he had eaten the mirror demon yesterday, Maru could now use its power. The Lasat reflection ability activated. To look cool, he began to mimic the demon's previous action, thrusting his hand straight into his armpit. Finally, it was time to show off. After defeating the Lasat on Inwang Mountain, he had grown much stronger. He was no longer useless in the team. Thanks to the ability to copy movements, as Maru rubbed his armpit, a terrible smell spread outward. The horrible smell reached the other demon, making it lift its nose to sniff. Immediately it realized this was its own skill, raising its hand frantically and shouting, "It is me." Maru himself began to smell the awful odor, Nausea surged in his throat. Ugh, disgusting, truly horrible. He could not endure it. Tears streamed down, face flushed, hands still clenched into fists swinging. Could not lose. In an instant, Maru rushed close to the armpit-smelling demon, wildly flapping to spread the scent as he moved and attacked. Not far behind, Yu Hyuk was also hit by the smell, quickly covering his mouth shouting, "Ah!" His face turned pale as he wondered, is the ability of this Lasat armpit odor truly a biological weapon? Suddenly he noticed Channa beside him staggering as if about to collapse. She could not withstand the smell and had fainted. Yu Hyuk hurried to catch her, calling, "Wake up. Someone almost level 7 like you faints from smelling this." Hearing the loud shout, Maru also startled and turned his head. Realizing the situation was getting worse, he tried to flap his hands faster. Not good. The whole team will be wiped out, must be stronger. Thinking this, Maru forced down his nausea and shouted, "Do not underestimate me. I am much faster than you." While flapping, he stepped forward straight toward the armpit-smelling demon. It seemed unwilling to lose and attacked frantically, the poisonous gas spreading thickly around where they stood. On Maru's face, tears, snot, and saliva streamed down. The demon was no better. As he nearly reached its face, he gritted his teeth and said, "Give it all your strength." Then, without hesitation, he swung both hands straight at the demon, receiving the attack. The terrible smell rolled like a storm straight into the demon, engulfing it, its face turning pale as it leaned backward. Unable to endure any longer, the demon was destroyed, its large body collapsing to the ground. Finally, Maru had defeated the disgusting demon, breathing heavily. Behind, Yu Hyuk was still holding Channa, eyes fixed on him. Overjoyed, he turned and smiled brightly, saying, "I won." Witnessing this scene, the two of them were frozen, not knowing what to say. To wash off the unpleasant smell, the group went to a stream at the forest edge to wash their faces and hands. While washing her hands, Channa could not help but look at Maru in amazement, not expecting that the coward who had been running away just a few days ago had changed completely. She asked, "Do you mean you can absorb Lasat's power by eating them?" Maru stood up and replied, "Yes, the last Lasat I ate had reflection ability, so I can use the same power as this armpit-smelling Lasat." Just then Yu Hyuk mimicked Maru's pose from before, pointing at himself and shouting, "It is me." Then he could not help but laugh aloud. So funny, speaking boldly but attacking with armpit odor. What a strange power. Teased, Maru felt embarrassed and turned his head away, asking, "Strange, really strange." But Channa did not feel that way. Smiling, she patted his shoulder and comforted, "No, you did great. You have improved a lot." Receiving this praise, Maru blushed like a ripe fruit. Before he could smile, Channa added, "Just that eating Lasat flesh is a little disgusting." Her words struck Maru like lightning, leaving him stunned. Disgusting. Not wanting to linger, Yu Hyuk ran off saying, "Han Maru, you have worked hard. Rest. I will check the PM dust meter, then come back." Hearing this, he sat down to rest after fighting the smelly demon. Haze. Thinking back, Maru could not help but feel embarrassed about the earlier situation, facing such a strange Lasat and being humiliated. He scratched his head in regret. This was a chance to erase my dark past and be recognized by everyone. Yet, before he could finish speaking, a figure approached from behind saying, "You are." The man asked, "Are you Specialist Han Maru?" Because the sunlight was blinding and backlit, he could not see the person's face clearly. "Who is this?" The person standing there was none other than Il-Du, who continued, "You are the one who defeated the level 5 Lasat on Inwang Mountain, right?" Then he leaned down and observed Maru carefully. And indeed, as people said, Maru truly had the strength of a level 1 Lasat demon, with just a level 1 ability. Hearing these words, Maru looked confused and stammered, but..." Il-Du's mouth curved into a mysterious smile. Then he raised his hand to Maru and made a proposal. "I want to invite you to join Team Soul." Join Team Soul. Join. Suddenly Il-Du appeared here and made this proposal, leaving Maru extremely confused. his eyes wide with astonishment as he exclaimed, "Multi-level star." He did not explain immediately but asked again, "Do you know everyone at the Seoul headquarters?" Hearing the mention of Seoul headquarters, Maru could not control his limbs, waving them frantically as he replied, "That is where the most skilled people at Stars are." Then he pointed at himself, "Is it me?" Il-du smiled brightly and replied, "Yes, I saw potential in you." Yet no matter how much he thought about it, he still could not understand why he was chosen. Potential in me. A while later, Il-du returned to the main headquarters. Seeing him come back, young Yoon was surprised and called, "Director." She asked angrily, "Why did you delay the contract time and go somewhere?" Hearing this, Il-du laughed and replied, "Ah, there was someone I cared about." Young Yoon asked in confusion, "A son?" On the table nearby was a file containing full details of Seonwoo. She asked, "So you mean Seonwoo?" But Il-du denied immediately, "No, after the divorce I rarely meet my son." Pulling a chair and sitting down, he continued, "Now I care about someone else." Looking at the photo in the file before her, young Yoon exclaimed, "It is that rookie." Il-du's lips could not help but curl into a calculating smile. "I feel so. Now it seems he will need to pay attention to that rookie." Meanwhile, elsewhere, in a one-story house, suddenly a portal to the demon world appeared on the ceiling, sand pouring out with a dust cloud. Storms of sand quickly seeped through the door into the main room. A skinny demon appeared, opening the fridge looking for something inside, but found nothing and froze for a moment. Scene shifts to the headquarters where Maru works. After receiving the invitation from Il-du, he could not stop thinking about it, sitting dazedly and smiling to himself. The more he thought, the more he felt he was not useless as everyone said. Indeed, working in Seoul would be more comfortable. He hoped to go there. Just then he realized one thing. Oh no, but there he would face stronger demons. Because of this, he decided to stay at this headquarters for now. "All right, I need to be careful." Maru praised himself. Being recognized was good too. Stop thinking nonsense. Seeing him sit there smiling foolishly, Seonwoo could not help but call, "Hey, level 1. Hearing the voice, Maru was startled, looking up with a dazed expression. In front of him, Seonwoo looked extremely annoyed, eyes glaring as if wanting to devour him. "Why are you smiling so innocently?" He pressed closer and continued, "It must be fun for you to work here, so annoying." Seonwoo cleared his throat and asked, "You are the weakest here, understand?" Previously Maru endured, but this time he decided to respond, "How can you say I am powerless?" Hearing he was contradicted, Seonwoo stood up angrily shouting, "Hey, you dare argue back?" His next words left Maru speechless. "Weak and full of bad habits. Your body smells." Maru blushed in embarrassment, unable to speak. "Why did you say that?" Realizing the situation, he glared at Yoo Hyuk angrily. "Must be him who said that." Yoo Hyuk replied, "I said nothing." His mouth denied, but his actions contradicted, repeatedly mimicking Maru's earlier motion, making everyone laugh loudly. "Oh my ha ha ha." After laughing for a while, Deok Man turned to look at Maru again. Not knowing what he imagined, he held his stomach laughing again, so happy. "You are helpless," Maru exclaimed. "That uncle too? Why do they like teasing me? Working in the office is unlucky." While everyone laughed, Jae-won ran over and stood by Maru, shouting, "All right, everyone stop talking." She continued, "He has worked well." Maru touched, thanked her, "Thank you." But before he could feel touched, Jae-won clapped and said, "As long as you lived well, it is fine. Even if hiding around, it does not matter, really." Caught in this awkward situation, he did not argue, secretly glancing aside, damn so embarrassed. At this time, Channa sat quietly sipping coffee, not caring, but what can be done? Maru took out his phone and sighed, "Here I am considered useless." Il-du's number was already saved in his phone. Then he thought, "Call and see." Before pressing, he was still deep in thought. Right, going to Seoul headquarters will be a new beginning. Just then the alarm bell rang loudly. Cha-na stood up shouting. A level 2 demon appeared. But this time she was not allowed to go. Someone grabbed her hand to hold her back. That person was none other than Seonwoo. His face darkened. saying, "This time let me go. I am tired of sitting here." Before leaving, Xianwu looked at Maru and called, "Maru, are you coming?" Before he could answer, he added, "Ha, useless rookie." After a while, both finally arrived on the mountain near where the demon appeared. Climbing was tiring, but Xianwu's determination was undeterred. He looked extremely excited. That excitement showed clearly on his face. Seeing the man ahead with such mood, Maru thought, "I really do not want to act with him. Oh, so tired. Better call the director and move to Seoul." When they just arrived, Xianwu suddenly stopped, staring ahead. Trouble ahead? Hearing this, Maru gasped and asked, "Huh?" He pointed to the one-story house covered in thick yellow dust. "Can you see it?" Seeing this, Maru was amazed. This is the first time. Yellow sand in a civilian house. Without wasting time, Xianwu quickly approached the door. "Move quickly," he thought angrily. "Who orders me around?" When the door opened, the sand thickened. Compared to a level 2 demon, it seemed impossible, he thought. The sandstorm covered the whole house. A level 4 demon. Dust penetrated every corner. Yet strangely, no one was seen inside. Rooms mysteriously sealed. Feeling something wrong, Maru anxiously reached out. "The house is empty. First be careful." Before he could finish, Xianwu ignored him and went straight to a nearby room. "I told you not to wander." Looking at the closed blue door with sand pouring out, everyone could understand the origin. Xianwu confirmed, "It is inside this room." Saying so, he went to turn the doorknob. But after turning, the door remained stiff. Locked. Maru ran and stood in front, warning, "Wait, do not go in yet, be careful." He shouted, "Move aside, let me see." He put on a black glove. "If you do not move." Xianwu grabbed a finger threatening, "I will use force." Seeing this, Maru was scared and stepped back. Oh no. After breaking one arm, waiting long, the room remained silent. This surprised Xianwu. And Maru felt lucky. Lucky nothing happened. "What did you see there?" To see inside, he decided to peek through the door gap. The only opening was the tiny keyhole, dust streaming out. Through the small hole, Xianwu saw a tiny figure sitting in a corner. The figure was skinny, bony, unlike normal demons. Seeing him glance around, Maru also peeked. "Let me see." He interrupted, "Hey?" After observing the demon, Maru judged, "Why is it hard to see? But it does not feel strong." Xianwu warned, "Be careful. Inside is a high-class demon. Its aura is just hidden, understand?" Hearing this, Maru was scared and asked, "How can there be a high-class demon here?" Unlike Maru's panic, Xianwu was unconcerned and excited. "First time I see a high-class demon here." Xianwu laughed excitedly, "So there is a chance to fight." Seeing his state, Maru was speechless, rushing out, "Careful. I will report to headquarters." But when he reached the main door, he found it could not be opened. No matter how he tried, the door would not budge. Without hesitation, he pushed against the door with his body. Even the entrance blocked. His expression showed worry. Maybe the demon inside did it. Before Maru could speak, Xianwu kicked the door. Not only that, he pounded the door with his fists, shouting, "Open." Smiling, he urged, "Demon inside, come out fast." Maru tried to turn the handle to escape, but could not. "Why do I have to go with such a madman?" Inside, hearing the loud noise, the demon looked up. Maru thought, "There is a high-class demon here, too dangerous, what bad luck." The demon had an extremely strange appearance, with human-like parts, sunken eyes. Its lips moved, making groaning sounds from its throat. Then its face twisted as if tearing apart, shouting, "Outside." In the blink of an eye, its face split into two, with two separate faces, mouth still screaming, "Yes, yes, yes, yes." After a while trying to open the door, all of Xianwu's fingers were broken. But the door did not budge at all. "What is this? All 10 fingers are broken, and the door still will not open." Looking at the door still standing solid without a scratch, he was even more astonished. What is this door made of? Nearby, Maru was also using all his strength to open the door to escape, even using a chair to smash it, but it was useless. While smashing the door madly, he shouted, "Please open." Yet all his efforts were in vain. The entrance, the walls, the glass windows, everything was as hard as steel. From these observations, Maru guessed, could it be that trapping us inside the house is the ability of the reclusive Lasset? Just as he thought this, suddenly his heart felt crushed. Unable to breathe, he groaned in pain. Ugh! He could feel his body being torn apart piece by piece, all his strength gone. Damn it, trapped for an hour. I am about to panic. Everyone in the office must be worried. Contrary to what Maru thought, 2 hours passed, and no one came to check on them. Have we been forgotten, these people? Meanwhile, at the headquarters, everything was quiet. Suddenly, Deok Man stood up with a panicked face, shouting, "Ah, damn, oh no." Beside him, Jae-won also could not sit still, continuously checking the schedule with urgency. She blamed herself. How could I forget today is the training day in Busan? Everyone was frantically busy in a haze, constantly working, preparing documents. Is the civil servant Nam's file ready? Working on it. Check this for me. Almost done. Done. After a series of quick and professional actions, finally everything gradually stabilized. Cha-na pressed enter, sent. Immediately she grabbed the USB file pointing directly to Deok Man. Then she threw it to him calling loudly, "Team leader go, the documents." He caught it and replied, "Thank you." Without wasting more time, Deok Man quickly went out to head to Busan for the training. Thanks everyone, see you tomorrow. Finally everything was in order. Jae-won sat down exhausted, sigh, skipping the morning work. Go drink coffee. She relaxed sipping a freshly brewed cup of coffee, regaining her spirit. The room was astonishingly quiet. Finally peace. Just then Jae-won suddenly paused, remembering something. Everyone looked back with horrified eyes. Ah, what about those two? It has been 3 hours. She pounded her forehead in frustration. I told you not to send those 2 rookies. With no other choice, Jae-won stood up and said, Nam Yu Hyuk goes with me. Kim I Park and Kang Chan-na stay on duty. But she did not listen and insisted, I am going too, I have a bad feeling. Hearing this, Jae-won was slightly surprised, glancing back. Then she stepped close to Cha-na. Jae-won whispered in her ear, Are you okay? The scene is nearby. Not knowing what happened in the past, at this moment Cha-na did not care. She was determined to go. Do not worry about me, let's go. Scene shifts to the one-story house where Maru and Seonwoo were trapped. Everyone in the group had arrived. All of them entered the room, but no one was seen. Only a thick dust cloud covered everything. Where are the 2? Just then, they suddenly heard running noises approaching, with 2 shadows. What is this? It turned out the ones running frantically were Maru and Seonwoo. Faces panicked, shouting, No, do not close the door. But in the end they were too late. The door closed and locked tightly as if never open. He desperately fell to the ground, crying, Ah, why did you come here? Seeing them collapsed and exhausted, Jae-won, not understanding, sat down and asked, What happened to you two? Anything wrong? After hearing the whole story, everyone finally understood the problem and approached the locked room. She pointed at it and asked, So that Lasat refuses to leave the room? Maru replied, Yes. Cha-na quickly stepped forward and warned, Everyone move aside. Then her arms slowly shrank and hardened into a sword. Cha-na aimed the sword at the door to strike and break it. But all her thoughts dissipated when the strike hit the door. It did not move at all. Not only that, the door had not even a scratch. Yu Hyuk, witnessing this, also exclaimed, Amazing. Seeing Cha-na fail, Jae-won decided to act. Rolling up her sleeve, Let me try. From her upper arm, a black hole appeared. Then the hole quickly turned into a multi-legged object wriggling, becoming a small round black spider slowly crawling down her wrist. Jae-won decided to use this spider to go through the hole on the other side of the door and unlock it. She gently placed it, saying, This Lasset spider ability will open it. The tiny spider tried its best to crawl into the keyhole, but could not. Come on, good job. After a while, the result was the same. It could not open the door. She comforted her spider. No, the hole is too small. Hearing this, Maru was speechless, jaw dropped, thinking, Oh my, summoning a pet and still pampering it like her own child. Jai-won does not care about these. Ugh, so strange. Come here. Tired, right? Ugh, damn. Seeing that they tried many methods without success, Seonwoo glanced at Yoo Hyuk and asked, Civil Servant Nam, stop standing there. Use your ability. He calmly replied, I have no attack ability. Hearing this, Maru added, in other words, useless in this case. Receiving these remarks, Yoo Hyuk was furious, eyes blazing, and asked back, What about Yuhan Maru? You absorbed the Lasat reflection ability. Why not use it? He waved his hand explaining, I cannot see the opponent. Moreover, it is too far. I cannot activate the ability. He laughed, teasing, What? Truly useless. Ignoring their argument, Seonwoo looked at Jai-won and Cha-na and asked, Is anyone at the office? Will anyone come to save us? Jai-won worriedly replied, The team leader went to training, back tomorrow. Suddenly remembering something, Yoo Hyuk smiled and interrupted, What about Specialist Kim I-park? Just after saying that, the group was horrified to see him standing there silently. When did he come in? He smiled blankly, saying, You were late, so I came to check. Yet no one even noticed his presence. After a while, I-park finally stepped forward to check the locked room. Seeing him stand there with no reaction, Jai-won curiously asked, Specialist Kim, how is it? Can you handle it? Just then, he suddenly collapsed unconscious. Witnessing this, everyone was extremely confused, not understanding what was happening. Maru asked in astonishment, What is he doing? Sleeping? She shrugged, I do not know. Specialist Kim mainly does office work. I have never seen him use abilities. Hearing this, everyone fell into despair. Maru and Seonwoo sighed, Why is this happening? Seeing the people standing there useless, everything fell into deadlock. Thought someone would rescue, but all were useless. Suddenly applause rang out, making everyone pause. Jai-won proposed a solution. All right, gather. Let us think of another way to escape. Seonwoo angrily interrupted. There is no other way. She asked back, Should we just stay here? Standing nearby, Yoo Hyuk also suggested, Wait until the team leader returns. Anyway, it is not attacking us. Hearing this, Maru shivered. You mean we stay with this Lasat until tomorrow? The group discussed back and forth, but could not find a proper solution. Meanwhile, Cha-na did not participate, standing silently aside. This made Maru curious. Why is Specialist Kang Cha-na not saying anything? Yoo Hyuk pointed at the door asking, Does anyone find it strange? Why is the Lasat not moving? How does it intend to kill us? Just after speaking, the ground suddenly shook strangely, making everyone panic and shout, Cha-na sensed something and ran straight to the nearby room. It was the sound from the bedroom. Without hesitation, she pushed the door open, and this time it opened easily. Witnessing this, Cha-na's eyes widened in shock, unable to speak. She could see dust rising from the corners, and the house was actually shrinking. The ceiling fan, once in the middle, was now crushed against the wall in an instant. The group shouted, What? The house is shrinking. Finally, Seonwoo realized the problem. Now I understand the purpose of the reclusive Lasat. His eyes widened. Its purpose is... The demon continued according to its calculation. Sitting still, it raised its bony thin hand. Then it clenched as if controlling the whole house with its will. When its hand squeezed, the house creaked and disappeared, leaving only the space it occupied. And that was its ultimate goal, leaving only itself in the house. Maru, scared, thought, Damn, if we cannot destroy this Lasat, will we all be crushed by the walls? The walls advanced closer to everyone. His face turned pale, desperate, wondering, What should we do now? What should we do? 4 years ago, at that time the house was still the home of a normal family. A grandmother and her grandchild were sitting picking vegetables in the front yard. At that time, Cha-na had not yet become a special civil servant and was just a normal student, cheerful and energetic. Grandma, Kang Yoon, seeing her sister return, the boy ran over happily and called out, Sister Cha-na. The grandmother was also delighted and stood up to ask, You have arrived, Cha-na. And so the grandmother and grandchild continued a peaceful day. The grandmother urged, Come inside. That evening was a rare night that Cha-na stayed at home because she had to study far away. Kang Yoon was very excited about this, wishing that every day we could sleep together like this. The boy reminded, when you are on break from university, you must come here to play with Grandma and me, okay? She cheerfully patted his head and replied, I know. Just as she said this, her expression froze as she glanced at the opposite wall. On it appeared drawings of 3 people drawn by Kang Yoon himself. What is this painting? Drawing on the wall will get scolded by Grandma, the boy replied. No, it is not like that. He happily sat up and told, Grandma praised me for drawing it well. Looking at the result, which included Grandma, sister, and himself holding hands happily, the boy smiled and said, This is our happy family picture. But now returning to the present, that painting still remained on the wall, surrounded by thick golden sand. The wall was increasingly pressing tightly, creaking loudly. Seeing the wall with the painting being buried, Cha-na could not bear it and shouted, No, not like this. Immediately she lost all reason and bit strongly into a wound on her arm and screamed, No. From that arm, a weapon began to appear and extend. Cha-na thrust the sword straight toward the corner of the wall to prevent it from shrinking further. However, no matter how hard she tried, her strength was completely insufficient against the demon, her arms shaking violently. Even the sword was quickly bent under the pressure. She had to brace her legs against the wall to bear her body and stay upright. A few seconds later, a crack appeared on the sword and spread along its length. Seeing the situation was not good, Cha-na continued to bite her arm to let blood flow and supplement the sword with more power. The sword needs more blood. But no matter what she did, it still had no good result. Her legs were too weak to stand firmly. Her jaws clenched, veins bulging on her face, but her arm refused to let go. Seeing the situation increasingly dangerous, Jae-won shouted, Specialist Kang Cha-na, stop, it is dangerous. Without hesitation, Maru rushed quickly to Cha-na at the most dangerous moment. Fortunately, he managed to lift her and jumped to the side to avoid the crushing wall. The sword broke into 2 pieces with a dry snap. Witnessing this scene, Cha-na fell into despair, eyes wide open but unable to do anything. Looking at the family painting being ruthlessly crushed, tears flowed from her eyes. Finally, everything was buried under the sand wall. But fortunately, because of this incident, the wall did not shrink further and stopped. Maru and Cha-na fell onto the ground. Everyone opened their eyes in shock and shouted, It has stopped. After everything calmed down, Maru rubbed his aching head and sat up. Ugh. Jae-won ran to Cha-na and gently patted her face. Specialist Kang, are you okay? Seeing no movement from her, she was unconscious. He explained, It seems she is exhausted from using too much power. He asked curiously, But why did she? Jae-won did not hide anything and replied, Actually, this is the house of Kang Cha-na's grandmother. Hearing that, Maru was shocked and exclaimed, Huh. She continued telling, Cha-na lost her grandmother and younger brother in this house to a Lasat, and it was here she awakened her powers. Finally Maru understood everything. Looking at Cha-na with eyes full of sympathy, I see. Even though unconscious, her tears kept flowing over her small face. Yu Hyuk began to approach, curiously examining the wall. Luckily, I thought the whole house would disappear. Jae-won added, Yes, we should go outside before the wall moves again. Looking at the small crack on the wall, she asked a question. Do you know the saying? While saying this, she looked at everyone and gave a mysterious smile. Constant dripping wears away the stone. Time passed, and it was already evening. In the one-story house, scraping sounds continuously echoed. It turned out everyone decided to take turns using knives to cut through the large wall, trying to find a way to escape. However, Seonwoo did not see this method as feasible. Even after poking and prying all afternoon, it did not widen much. Are you crazy? How long will it take to dig through the wall like this? Sitting at the back, everyone finished working, breathing heavily and sweating profusely. Before Maru could rest a little, an object flew toward him, startling him. Huh. Seonwoo could no longer do anything and pointed to the wall, urging, change shifts. he shouted in shock. Ah, so fast. However, he felt that his body had lost all strength, his legs and arms trembling, hands tired, stomach hungry, throat dry. But just as he grabbed the knife, another small hand reached out. Cha-na took the knife without hesitation and replied, "Let me do it." Seeing her awake, Maru asked in surprise, "Oh, you are awake. Rest a little more." But now she no longer cared about anything, constantly using the knife to scrape the wall. "I am fine." Seeing her struggling hard, Maru could only stand there and watch. Finally, he could not help but stammer, "I heard this is your grandmother's house." Maru continued, "The house is empty but so clean. I was wondering, do you clean it often?" She did not avoid the question and replied, "Because I have always been waiting." Curious, he asked, "Huh, waiting for what?" She glanced back and explained, "Waiting for the lasat that killed my family. It will definitely come back here." Hearing this, Maru did not understand why Cha-na was so persistent. How did she know it would return? In her mind, the events of that day were still vivid, the small figure of her sitting in fear in a corner because of that lasat. At that time, Cha-na had not become a special civil servant. She had no powers to protect her family. In front of her, that demon appeared with a head full of wriggling tentacles, on its hand connected to a large blade. She exclaimed, "It is different from the others." Realizing that the direction the demon pointed was not her place, Cha-na startled and looked back, where a shadow faintly appeared. In the corner of the wall was another demon with eyes shining like headlights. The scene was too horrific, making a small girl like Cha-na unable to hold back tears. That one had a human shape and seemed to be a man, but the face could not be seen clearly. Remembering this, she told, "It has its own purpose and intelligence. It is not simply killing like other lasats. Within the next year, when the lasats invade the human world, it will definitely return here." Hearing this, Maru asked, "That is why you stayed in Manhwa team, even though you are level 7. She replied, "Are you disappointed? Because I only care about the lasat that killed my family." But contrary to what Cha-na said, Maru did not feel that way. "No, I also do not have any noble ideals being a civil servant. I only do it unwillingly, and the pay here is also high." She continued to interrupt. "Then you will go to Seoul headquarters, right? I heard the pay is higher there." He was startled. "Oh, how did you know?" It turned out that on that day, Cha-na had witnessed Il-do coming and inviting Maru to join. "I saw it. That day I came back for a moment. I saw you talking." Maru stammered and explained, "Ah no, I mean I had not decided yet." She smiled and said, "You will do well." Just as she said that, her gaze fell, "Because of you." But before Cha-na could finish, a loud noise made everyone freeze in place. The wall was shrinking again, the house moved, what, moving again. Everyone shouted to run out of the room to escape. "It has started. Everyone hurry to the corridor." Maru and Cha-na followed everyone, running fast before the room disappeared. In his mind, her words just now made him restless. "Because of you." Then what? What were you going to say? Maru did not hear clearly. "Ah, I want to know." In the blink of an eye, time had passed to the next morning. The sun began to rise and shine its early light down onto the one-story house. After a night of struggle, almost everyone was exhausted. Finally, the house stopped moving. Xianwu asked, "Has it stopped?" Yu Hyuk sighed and added, "Now we can only rely on the team leader. But where is he? He said he would be here by work time. He must be lost on the way to Busan." In the narrow hallway, Maru looked at Kim I-park, who was still sleeping soundly. On him, a jacket was draped without knowing what it was. He sighed slowly. "Specialist Kim I-park sleeps like dead, and we are trying to find a way out." Before everyone could rest, the wall began to shrink again. Again. There was no choice. Maru urged everyone, must wake Specialist Kim I-park. But when he looked, a terrifying scene appeared. His head covered with mushroom-like blisters. Oh, what happened to his face? He smiled gently and said, "It is time." As he finished speaking, the locked door was also forced open. Dust poured out from inside. Behind it was a skeletal, gaunt demon rushing out with a panicked face, screaming. Witnessing this, everyone did not understand what had happened and hurriedly asked, "How is it? What ability did he use?" He answered, "That demon actually knew fear." Kim I Park explained, "I shot mushroom spores through the crack. This ability takes time to activate, so I rarely use it. The Lasat mushroom spore ability, also called the silent killer. Thanks to this, everyone was saved." They praised, well done, why did you not say earlier?" He smiled and replied, "Sorry." Before they could rejoice, Xianwu with a worried face interrupted, "Leave that for later, look." At that moment, the skeletal demon stood crying with its body covered in mushrooms, calling, "Father." Hearing the call, from inside the door, numerous hands reached out. It turned out not only one demon but a large number of demons like it, mouths continuously moaning, all alone. All of them turned sharply toward Maru's group as if wanting to devour everyone. Their number was vast, charging together, shouting, alone. Witnessing this horrific scene, Maru was scared to the point his mouth twisted. What is this? It is not the reclusive Lasat alone, but a Lasat with many children. Not only that, all of them were not level 2 but level 7 demons, a whole pack of level 7 Lasats. How could we fight them? How could we fight them? The demons, in an incredibly large number, charged straight towards Maru's group. All of them shouted in horror, "They are coming." Seeing the chaotic situation, Chatna stepped forward to remind, "I'm handling this, everyone stay calm." While she rushed forward to fight, Yu Hyuk was not idle either, immediately forming a circle seal. "I'm using it, the Lasat ability." This circle appeared and enveloped all of their people. Inside it the demons could not see. It was an invisible Lasat. After everyone had stabilized their positions and were safe, Chatna also took her sword and swung it straight forward. With just one slash, she directly cut off a demon's body in an instant. However, just when things seemed to go smoothly, an incident occurred. Because the corridor was too narrow, Chatna's sword got stuck in the wall and could not be pulled out. "Damn it, the corridor is too tight." The sword got stuck. Taking advantage of this, a demon quickly jumped onto the sword towards where she was standing. Facing this urgent situation, she could do nothing but watch, clenching her teeth. The demon opened its mouth wide, revealing sparse teeth and a pitch-black tongue, looking extremely disgusting. At that moment, Maru appeared, rushing forward to bite the demon's neck, saving Cha-Na's life. Thanks to his special ability, the wound Maru bit could never heal. The demon could only helplessly tremble and scream in pain. As it was about to die, it still managed to raise its hand towards the ceiling, opening its palm. Then, without hesitation, it clenched its hand into a fist, and also took its last breath. This meant the demon had successfully activated its ability, and the house began to shake violently. Seeing the ceiling lowering, Yu Hyuk shouted in fear, "It's over, that Lasat intends to collapse the ceiling." After tearing the demon's flesh, Maru looked up with glowing eyes and continued, "There's no other choice." He decided to use the ability he had copied from the mirror demon, shouting loudly, "Lasat ability, reflection activated, sealing up." Although he said this, Maru still had to use his hands to hold up the ceiling and could not lift it immediately. Witnessing this ungraceful scene, Yu Hyuk still praised him. "Wow, a little embarrassing but well done." Just as he said this, suddenly a swarm of demons charged straight at Maru, making him panic. "But at this moment I can't move." While a demon was about to reach him, suddenly, an invisible force spun the demon's head away, killing it on the spot. The one who struck it was none other than Xianwu, who turned to warn, "Hey level 1, very dangerous, hide inside the barrier." Before he could finish speaking, Maru shouted, "Hey, wait, take care of yourself first." As soon as he said this, a demon approached from behind Xianwu, biting his shoulder strongly, making him grimace in pain. Ugh. Around Xianwu, numerous smaller demons advanced, some biting arms, some legs, an overwhelming number. Damn it. At the most dangerous moment, a series of flashing attacks shot out from somewhere, piercing a demon's head. That attack came from a giant spider, which had somehow been standing over Xianwu with glowing yellow eyes. The one controlling it was Jai One, who seemed useless before, but now showed its true power. Yu Hyuk urged, Jae-won, Seonwoo, help Kang Cha-na quickly. We must protect Hanmaru. Back to Cha-na, she continued to slash demons relentlessly. Although killing them was easy for the group, the problem was their sheer number. No matter how many were killed, they never ended. While everyone fought fiercely inside the barrier, Maru still stood holding up the ceiling. Not only was he working, Yu Hyuk also did his part, creating a protective layer, both exchanging glances. The new atmosphere became awkward. Ahaha, she fights so cool. Yes, we are not hiding here out of fear, it's defense. At the same time, behind, Jae-won used her observation ability to check the situation and noticed something strange. She curiously said, Strange? Why do Lassots keep coming out of that room? Maru replied, Then. Without wasting more time, he quickly dashed outside the barrier, rushing to the door, making Yu Hyuk startle. What is he going to do? In front of Maru, Cha-na and Seonwoo were still standing there, fiercely killing demons without stopping. He shouted at them, Let me into the room now. Hearing this, both of them glanced at each other. They didn't ask more questions and trusted him, directly opening the way for Maru to enter the room. After a strenuous movement, Maru finally jumped straight through the door into the room with the densest sandstorm. The space inside was suffocatingly thick, limiting his vision. Observing carefully, he was shocked, exclaiming, What is this? Inside, countless demons stood in a long row facing a corner. It turned out that the real demon was huddled in the corner, with red threads connecting it to other demons. Seeing this, Maru angrily cursed, You bastard! You only dare to hide in the room and send your clones to fight, coward. As he spoke, the demon began to react, its body deformed, spawning multiple heads. To prevent it from doing that again, he decided, raising both hands to the sky, then, from above, creaking sounds echoed, accompanied by thick dust. Immediately, Maru pressed down, wanting to use the ceiling to destroy it. No escape. As the demon looked up, the ceiling fell straight toward it. It curled up motionless. Time was tight. Maru rushed to the only exit. The ceiling lowered more than halfway through the door, yellow dust blurring vision. At that moment, Maru felt hopeless, clenching his teeth. Suddenly, two familiar figures appeared by the door, waiting. They were Seonwoo and Cha-na, both stretching their hands to him, shouting, Hanmaru, jump. With their help, he gained strength, reaching out and leaping outside. Finally, Seonwoo grabbed Maru's hand tightly, without hesitation, pulling him from the pit in an instant. As he jumped out, the ceiling collapsed, crushing the demons inside. Seeing the horrifying scene, Maru couldn't believe he survived, breathing heavily. Everyone raised their hands in joy. Done. Jae-won and Yu Hyuk ran to Maru, praising him. Your reflection ability is amazing, Hanmaru, very different from when you fought the Lassat on the mountain. Maru laughed shyly, ha ha ha, right, don't praise me too much. Although everything was resolved, Cha-na still felt no joy, her eyes full of regret. She looked at her house filled with memories with her grandmother and brother. Now there was no one left. The scene appeared in her mind when she happily ate with everyone. Behind, Maru quickly noticed this abnormality, looking at Cha-na, thinking, Specialist Kang Cha-na. Thinking this, he put his hand on his forehead. As the mirror shard gradually disappeared, the Lassat was dead. She need not worry anymore. Maru's gaze focused on the demon's corpse on the ground. Then, without hesitation, he bent down, tearing its arm frantically, making Yu Hyuk step back in fear. Ugh, what are you doing? After consuming the monster's flesh and absorbing its power, Maru stood up, wiping blood from his mouth. Fortunately, after finishing, the surrounding sand still lingered, not fully disappeared. Luckily, there's still smoke in the house. I can use it. Maru then used his ability, gradually pushing the wall aside. The floor widened back to normal in no time. Not stopping, he ran to pull the rest of the walls open. But it was too late. The sand had disappeared. Maru's hands trembled on the wall, thinking, slightly moved. Just a little more, just one. Unable to bear it, Cha-na stepped forward, touching his hands to stop him. Enough. She smiled. Thank you. Then she looked at her familiar house where she had lived with her grandmother for so long. The house's roof was now destroyed, sunlight shining directly inside. The family portrait of 3 people remained intact. Later at the headquarters, everything fell silent. Deok-man had completed training in Busan and returned home with a gift. I'm back. But when he entered, the office was empty. No one around. Busan's specialty cake. Huh. Surprised, Deok-man removed his glasses, wondering, I worked hard to buy this. Where did everyone go? He went to another room in the headquarters to ask, is anyone here? Asking several times without answer, Deok-man decided to open the door to check. At that moment, his phone rang. He quickly answered, long time no see, Chief. What's the matter? On the other end, Il-do replied, I asked Hanmaru to transfer to headquarters, but he refused. I came to ask why. Facing this, Deok-man seemed to understand, staring inside, stammering, it's about. Inside, Jae-won and Cha-na were sleeping peacefully on the main bed after a tiring day. On a makeshift mat on the floor, Maru, Seonwoo, Yoo Hyuk, and I-Park also rested after the fierce battle, clearly becoming close like a family. Perhaps he had grown accustomed to the Gangwa team. From the front, suddenly a sharp slash shot forward like lightning. Immediately after, Maru's body was cut into pieces along with a loud scream. Maru. 7 hours earlier, Maru was on his way to work, yawning repeatedly. He walked slowly while complaining. When I was an unemployed student, I didn't know. Going to work is really tiring. My energy hasn't recovered from the battle with the closed-off Lasat yet. Just as he thought this, the sound of an engine suddenly rang out, making him startle and stop, turning his head to look. Behind Maru, a pure white luxury car was slowly approaching. When the car window rolled down, he was surprised to see the driver was none other than Seonwoo. He remembered the previous moment in the house with the closed-off demon. It was Seonwoo who reached out to save him in an instant. Maru, get in. Encouraged by this illusion, Maru waved and greeted, good morning, may I ride with you? But Seonwoo's attitude remained the same, his eyes full of disdain as he gritted his teeth and barked, get lost. With that, he drove his luxury car away, leaving Maru standing there furious. This guy is really thoughtless. At that moment, a familiar voice sounded, making him stop in surprise. Without noticing, Yoo Hyuk had appeared, saying, jealous, a fancy car. Yet a new public officer already drives a luxury car. Isn't that a bit weird? He stepped up to Maru and continued, your rookie attitude is poor. Right, Maru replied. Yes, and the personality is strange too. He nodded. Right. Yoo Hyuk laughed mockingly. Really, no matter how handsome, rich, or smart, if the personality is bad, it's all ruined. Surely no friends. They both laughed to console themselves, but inside they thought differently. Ahaha, I also have no friends. This sense of failure envy Seonwoo too much. After some more traveling, they finally arrived at the office. Just now they were laughing, but at work, everyone's face fell as if they had lost rice funds, muttering, hello everyone. Deok-man, however, was completely different, always cheerful at work, smiling brightly. Oh, you're here, our level 7 ability specialist, Maru. Hearing this, Maru quickly raised his hand to block him, asking, level 7 ability. Jae-won brought a stack of documents to explain. You have absorbed the level 7 Lasat ability through devouring. Congratulations. Excited, Deok-man slapped Maru on the back, making him fall forward. Thought he was weak, but he did the work well. Receiving such enthusiastic praise, Maru couldn't believe it was real, thinking, whoa, being recognized by the team is really joyful. Yoo Hyuk also had to admit, and his devouring ability is excellent. It's the only ability that keeps getting stronger. Before he could finish, someone nearby clenched a fist and slammed it onto the table. Seonwoo, looking annoyed, glanced up and reminded, start working, stop chatting. As he spoke, he angrily stared at Maru as if ready to devour him. Looking at me, I wasn't talking. Previously he despised me as level 1. Now I'm higher level, so what's different? Or does he really hate me? Thinking this, suddenly a hand reached from behind to lightly touch Maru's shoulder, making him turn. It was Cha-na, who had just finished bathing and stepped outside, saying, "Hey, can we talk for a moment?" Later, outside the office, she went to a mobile water station to get a drink. After both sat down on a bench, Maru stammered, What is it?" Cha-na's hand toyed with the can, replying, "I want to thank you about the incident at my grandmother's house." He shyly replied, "Ah, it's nothing, we're teammates, just what should be done." She interrupted, "That's why, after this incident, I'm even more certain about my thoughts." As she spoke, she leaned close to Maru, saying, "About you, Han Maru." He blushed. Faced with this awkward situation, a jumble of thoughts raced through Maru's mind. Thinking about me, what does it mean? Could it be? But before he could rejoice, Channa explained, "I didn't think you were just a level 1. Startled, he asked, "Huh, what do you mean?" She replied, "The remarkable healing and devouring Lasat ability. Surely not level 1. Maru recalled the previous battles with demons. Her meaning was the level 1 Lasat that day wasn't a devouring Lasat. Channa nodded, saying, "Exactly. Think, before becoming a public officer, had you ever encountered another Lasat?" Hearing this, Maru seriously thought, how did she know such an important thing, and could he forget? Just then, he noticed behind Channa a dense, ominous red aura behind the wall. Along with it came eerie sounds. Maru's body froze, sweat poured like a shower, even his heart pounding was audible. From behind the wall, a clawed foot gradually stepped out. Next came a grotesque monster with sharp fangs staring directly at him. What is that? At that moment, Maru felt his heart squeezed, unable to breathe. Ugh, hallucinations again, anxiety returning, too dangerous. The can in his hand fell to the ground, scattering. Witnessing this, Channa, sitting beside him, worriedly asked, "Han Maru, are you okay? What's wrong?" His hands trembled, clutching his head, replying, "Sometimes I remember frightening things." Seeing the situation worsening, Channa reached out to grab his hand. She reassured, "It's safe here, I'm here with you." Hearing this, Maru's cheeks flushed, and his headache vanished. Channa also speculated, "Indeed, your past has mysteries." At that moment, Diok Man appeared, peeking at them, asking, "What are you two doing? Office dating?" Hearing this, Maru blushed, stepping back, explaining, that?" Before he could speak, Channa directly denied, "No, if Lasats swarm next year, everyone will die. No time for dating." She added like a knife to Maru's heart, "I don't care." Though unspoken, he felt the pain inside. "Hey, I'm the one who doesn't care. What does dating have to do with it?" With no words exchanged, Channa turned and walked inside, leaving Diok Man stunned, laughing, lightly kicking Maru, teasing, "Doesn't care. Got kicked," he thought. "Told you, it's nothing." But he didn't notice Channa was equally flustered, pretending strong outwardly, but her ears were bright red. By 5 o'clock, the sunlight softened. Inside the office, Jai-won put on her jacket, saying, "Why am I hurt this way?" Meanwhile, on a large green-covered mountain, Maru and Channa climbed to the top to check the situation. He breathed heavily, motivating himself. 1 more hour until work ends, except night shifts, others check PM dust warning devices. Channa went to a column, opened the door, and began recording. She looked at the statistics of yellow dust fluctuation in the area, noting meticulously. Nearby, Maru thought, "What? Not dating, but Captain Go makes the atmosphere awkward." "Right," a specialist Kang said, about to die and thinking random thoughts. "Better think of surviving the Lasats. But we know too little about them. If only we could talk to a Lasat." Just then, the phone rang loudly, startling Channa, who ran to answer. "Emergency support requested." "This is Kang Channa," the voice replied. "Area 3, male, Yu Hyak here." Zap, Lasats appeared. The situation there was bad. Phone booth covered in blood and dense yellow dust storm. Captain Go attacked. With a deep chest wound, he tried to continue, "I'm on my way, be careful." Then the connection suddenly dropped, making Channa even more anxious, shouting, "Hello, Specialist Nam Yu Hyak." Her face turned pale, saying, "Impossible, Even level 10 Captain Go was attacked. Not understanding the situation but hearing this, Maru asked in shock, "What, that scruffy guy is level 10? Very quickly, as Yu Hayek said, a dense yellow dust storm slowly approached their feet. "Yes, it's coming this way, be careful." Immediately, Cha-Na drew a dagger. This Lasat is strong enough to defeat a level 10. Through the dust, a figure slowly appeared, with a huge hole on its head. The tension grew, Maru and Cha-Na widened their eyes. And what appeared made them unable to believe. A demon wearing tattered clothes, head pierced from eyes to nose, corners of its mouth stretched into a grotesque smile, speaking, "Hello everyone." Hearing its voice, both thought, "It can talk." The demon smiled, saying, "Pleased to meet you humans, can we talk for a moment? We talk for a moment." This was the first time Maru had encountered a demon that could speak human language, and he shouted in fear, "That Lasat can talk." But Cha-Na was different. This was not her first encounter, she explained. It's a linguistic Lasat. The demon raised its hand toward both of them and said, "Aw, don't be hostile. I don't want to fight, I just want to talk." Maru asked, "Talk about what?" Cha-Na remembered what Yu Hayek had said earlier on the phone. "Be careful of what you say," she warned, "Specialist Han Maru, don't talk to it." But he didn't listen and explained, "But this is an opportunity to learn about the Lasat. They came to kill us, yet we know nothing about them." To clarify the truth, he decided to step forward and ask it, "Where do you come from?" The demon smiled and answered, "We come from Naraka." Hearing this, Maru was astonished, having never known that place. "Naraka? Where is that?" The speaking demon replied without hiding, "The abyss of hell. A place imprisoning those who committed great sins in life, confined in eternal darkness, endlessly fighting each other." Hearing this, Maru recalled the scenes he had dreamt of before, of himself standing in a dark hell where demons tore each other apart while alive. He couldn't control himself, sweat pouring, eyes wide, stammering, "So that means, the Lasat, could it be?" The demon revealed a secret, Lasat were once humans. That sentence hit Maru like lightning, freezing his entire body, eyes wide open. Beside him, Cha-Na was equally shocked, face revealing astonishment. In Maru's mind, images appeared of him tearing apart the flesh of demons and swallowing it. "No, impossible, Lasat were once human, ugh, then the things I ate." Thinking this, he couldn't hold back and vomited violently, goosebumps all over. After answering all of Maru's questions, now the demon began to ask in return. "Then it's my turn to ask." Hearing this, he looked up in astonishment and replied, "Ask?" But immediately Cha-Na grabbed his hand, pulling him back. She warned, "No, don't talk to it anymore." Saying that, she made a scratch on her palm, seemingly friendly. From her arm, a weapon began to form, but it was the one that had attacked Captain Go and Nam. Having said that, Cha-Na stepped in front of the speaking demon, eyes full of killing intent, ready to fight at any moment. Seeing this, the demon still pretended innocence, raising both hands. "Stop, I hate violence." But before it could say another word, Cha-Na dashed forward like flying, disappearing from her previous position. Her hand swung the sharp blade straight toward its head, yet it didn't move at all, as if waiting for this. "Killing me won't avenge your brother." These words struck Cha-Na like a critical blow, making her pause, eyes showing confusion. Then it continued, pushing her sword aside, because, as it spoke, the demon grinned with satisfaction. The one who killed her brother was herself. This fatal weakness made Cha-Na recall everything from before. The scene on that fateful night, when her brother was stabbed through the stomach by the demon. The boy had stood in front of her, shielding her with his own body. Kang Yoon turned back, face drenched in tears, urging, "Sister, run." As soon as he finished, the demon pulled the blade from the boy's body, blood splattering everywhere. Cha-Na rushed forward in horror, reaching to catch her brother. But it was too late. The wound was too severe, and the boy died in her arms. His small arms dropped, ending a pitiful life, leaving Cha-Na there with endless pain, tears streaming as she screamed in despair. Back in the present, when she regained consciousness, blood flowed from her mouth. She collapsed to the ground. The demon continued, He died protecting you. As the older sister, you should have protected him. Witnessing this, Maru couldn't bear it anymore and ran over, shouting, "Specialist Kang." When he reached her, she had collapsed into his arms with a fatal wound in her chest. The wound was right at her heart. Breathing labored and weak. What's going on? Heart stabbed. But he couldn't see how it attacked. How did it strike? Maru saw nothing. Could its power be words, attacking with speech? Without wasting more time, the demon continued toward Maru, using words to distract him. Now let's continue our conversation. Ignoring the poor girl who cries daily for her dead family, he interrupted. No. Maru's expression darkened, fists clenched, shouting, "Shut up." He went mad, striking directly at the demon. Don't underestimate Specialist Kang Channa's pain. With that, he delivered a blow to its face before it could react. Blood gushed from its mouth. Its body fell to the ground, sand flying. Not stopping there, while it was still inattentive, Maru clenched his fist again and leapt from behind. But before his fist could strike, the demon turned and said, "Pathetic, kicked by a woman, that's why." Maru froze, thinking, my body can't move. And in a blink, something shot straight at him, too fast to see. Once clear-headed, Maru realized his heart had been pierced. Something had stabbed him. Blood gushed from his mouth, as if the pain of heartbreak. Finally, he understood the demon's purpose, aiming at emotional wounds to make humans negligent. Not a time to be mentally vulnerable. Thinking this, he looked at Channa still lying motionless on the ground. He had never felt romantic feelings for her, only admiration for Specialist Kang as a strong and admirable senior. Suddenly she looked at him regretfully, tears flowing with trembling voice. "I'm sorry." At that moment, Maru's nose stung, eyes wide open. Then pain from his heart struck, making him cough violently. Blood gushed from his mouth again, staining the ground. Ugh, aftershock of a mental attack. While Maru sat there, the demon grabbed a large stone, emotions making humans weak. As it spoke, it raised the stone above his head. "I've never felt this as a human," he exclaimed. "Oh no, I can't move." Before striking Maru, the demon bent down beside him and said, "Why not answer? Mute now." He thought, as long as there's emotion, we can't withstand mental attacks. No wonder Captain Go, even with level 10 power, was defeated. Wasting no more time, the demon acted. "Then it's over, can't talk anymore, finished." In that moment, Maru was completely helpless, unless a cold-blooded one immune to mental attacks came to save us. Thinking this, the stone descended toward him like lightning. But at the critical moment, the demon's body twisted grotesquely, head turning backward. The rescuer who arrived was none other than Xianwu. Luckily, he was on time. He stood there looking at Maru, asking, lying there, "What's wrong, level 1? Seeing Xianwu appear, Maru was overjoyed, tears falling. "You came, our weirdo." Before he could be moved for a few seconds, Xianwu grabbed his collar, shouting, "How could you let it beat you like this, idiot?" Thinking the demon was dead, but no, it was still alive. Too annoying. Xianwu turned in shock, asking, "What, still alive?" It raised its head back to its position, smiling. "My vocal cords are strong, not easily cut. You tiny fry should try harder." Hearing this, Xianwu was boiling with anger, shouting, "What?" Maru, equally annoyed, asked, "Tiny fry?" Both clenched their teeth and stood up, shouting, "This damn loudmouth." Facing this extremely cunning-speaking demon, Maru and Xianwu had to confront it together. He glanced at him and said, "Hey, that one can read memories and attack psychologically, so be careful." But Xianwu didn't care at all and stepped forward directly. "I don't need warnings from a low level like you, just shut up and watch." Hearing that tone, Maru was boiling with anger, but had to endure his rude way of speaking exactly like that demon. Anyway, must try. After stepping in front of the demon, Xianwu stretched and warmed up. Immediately he acted quickly, breaking a knuckle of his own hand, and correspondingly, one of the demon's legs also fractured. Though trembling in pain, it still tried to act okay and asked in return, "Only this much? Seems like you won't get recognition from your great father." Facing that, Xianwu didn't care at all, continuing to step forward. breaking a series of his own knuckles as he moved. The demon's head twisted 90 degrees backward, the corners of its mouth still lifted in a smile. "Ah, so you're also someone without emotions like me." But the next words it spoke made him pause for a moment. Rightly so, the child of a woman abandoned by her husband, going mad and committing suicide, wouldn't they all turn out like this? In Xianwu's mind, the image of witnessing his mother die in front of him as a child never faded. Behind him, Maru also heard the entire story, astonished at his tragic past. What? He had such a painful past. All this time, he had thought Xianwu was just a spoiled rich kid, thought he grew up as a rich playboy. Thinking this, Maru felt danger approaching and was about to rush to rescue. But after all, Xianwu was already reaching his limit. "I'll take over, even if he is merciless." The demon laughed wildly. "Haha." While it still smiled with satisfaction, thinking it had achieved its purpose, suddenly Xianwu's body began to move again. Turns out all this time, the demon's words had not affected his mind at all. Corners of his mouth lifted in response. "So what?" And then, without hesitation, he grabbed the demon's neck with force and asked, "It's not my fault. It's my mother's fault for being weak." Xianwu's eyes glinted with killing intent, continuing, "In the end, only the strong survive." It seemed the demon began to spot another weakness, grinning with satisfaction. "So in the end you cannot survive until the end." Then it spoke another sentence, completely crushing Xianwu's psyche, "Because you're even weaker than Han Maru." Those words struck him like lightning, freezing his whole body, eyes wide, just waiting for that moment. Once again the demon unleashed a lightning-fast critical strike. Its aim was none other than Xianwu's heart, while he was still dazed. Luckily this time, Maru reacted in time, running to raise his hand and block the strike. "Got it." He glanced at the demon with a cunning smile. This style of attack. Turns out this strike was the demon's tongue shooting to pierce a human heart, attacking with words to make the opponent lose focus, then stabbing straight into the heart with its tongue. While it was still stunned from being discovered by Maru, Cha-Na leapt up, slashing hard to cut its tongue. The slash was lightning fast, leaving it no time to react, blood from the tongue spraying everywhere, making it cry out in pain. After avenging the hateful demon, Cha-Na turned to Maru and asked, "Are you two okay?" Though it was just an ordinary scene, in his eyes it now shone brighter than ever. His face blushed, eyes immersed in admiration. "Truly cool." But quickly Maru shook his head to regain composure. "No, can't think about that." Turning back to Xianwu still dazed, he shook him. "Hey Xianwu, wake up, are you okay?" His face looked dazed, voice groaning, "Am I weaker than Han Maru?" Hearing this, Maru also felt helpless. What? This hurts him. But then Maru also felt proud. This guy is that envious of me. Thinking that, he stomped hard toward the unconscious Xianwu on the ground. "Hey, wake up. Don't pay attention to what it said." Maru praised, "I'm talented too, but you're better than me." As soon as these words left his mouth, Xianwu reacted again. His state returned to normal, absolute confidence. Of course, level 1, Maru thought. This guy is stupid. When the demon's tongue was cut, it quickly used the surrounding sand to regenerate its tongue. Cha-Na spoke. "We've handled it. Let's go home. If it gets dark, we'll be at a disadvantage." Knowing this, but now there was still no way to truly destroy it. But what to do? Can't approach because of its tongue. Cha-Na worriedly replied, "Let me hit it. It's rare for it not to speak." But just then Xianwu ran over, pulling her, in this state. Turns out her wound had been bleeding non-stop, and showed no sign of healing. What's happening? Wound won't heal. The pain surged from Cha-Na's mouth, blood gushing out. Xianwu had to support her, thinking, "Damn it, if we can't kill the Lassat, its attacks remain effective, can't recover." With no other choice, Maru made a decision, running in another direction to distract the demon. "I have to do something, overcome that tongue and defeat it." After separating from Xianwu with Cha-Na, he waved, "Hey, you idiot here." Immediately the demon lunged, shooting its long sharp tongue. It was coming toward Maru. Opportunity. He glanced at them and shouted, "Xianwu, take care of Specialist Kang. I'll use a new skill to deal with it." Hearing this, he asked in astonishment, "What, idiot? That skill only works in a confined space." Channa gasped with difficulty, stammering, Maru, help me quickly." Not far, Maru's steps hurriedly fled from the demon. Close behind, the demon still crazily chased. Its long tongue continuously slashed anything in its path. Things increasingly went beyond Maru's expectation as he couldn't find a confined place. No building nearby, can't run into residential area. He pressed his eyes shut, thinking hard, damn it, what to do now? Just then, from the other side of the restricted area fence, a white car sped over. From inside, Xianwu opened the door and called loudly, Maru, come here." After that, he flung the car doors wide to lure the demon inside the confined space. At this moment, Maru had no more thoughts, quickly crashed through the steel fence, ruining the expensive car. He marveled, truly a wealthy kid, enviable. Maru's whole body slipped inside the car in an instant. The door closed. Behind, the demon still frantically chased, mouth wide, tongue stabbing out. In its sight, it saw Maru inside the car. He even waved at it provocatively, "Come in." Without thinking further, the demon fell into the trap and went inside the car without hesitation. Standing outside waiting for this, Xianwu immediately closed the door. Then he signaled Maru, "Door locked." Receiving the signal, Maru quickly kicked open the door and slipped out from behind. Done, he closed the door again, happily saying, "Okay." No sooner had he finished than a lightning-fast slash cut through the air. Maru's body split into pieces in an instant, along with a loud scream, Maru. Seeing this, the demon was extremely excited, grinning wickedly, thinking it had defeated him. But things didn't go as it thought. A hand reached from behind, grabbing its neck, freezing it. Its expression shocked, smile fading, turning to look back. Behind it, Maru was not dead, standing there with killing intent. Not only that, inside the car, countless other versions of Maru were crowded with the thick golden sand. Many of his arms reached out toward the demon and grabbed it. Under this relentless attack, the demon couldn't resist, helplessly being pulled into the car. Those numerous Maru clones crazily bit and tore at its body, making it scream in pain and despair. The speaking demon could never have imagined that it would face this day, powerless as its body was being clawed and torn apart in a pitiful manner. All of Maru's other clones also bit and tore at it simultaneously, preventing it from escaping. Standing outside the car, Xianwu continued pounding on the glass, shouting, Maru, how long do you plan to stay there?" As he spoke, his expression turned fearful, face pale. Why hasn't he gotten out yet? Hearing the noise, finally Channa arrived at the scene, worriedly asking, "What happened? Maru, how is he?" Inside the car, though being torn apart, the speaking demon still used its last bit of strength to employ its psychological technique. "No need to do this, let's talk. Or are you inherently violent like your father?" This made Maru freeze, eyes wide and vacant. In his mind, the image from his childhood appeared again, when he was grabbed by his father by the collar and dragged away. Due to the strong grip, Maru could not react, his breath gradually weakening, coughing harshly. His small body was lifted into the air, tears streaming as he cried out, "Who?" Suddenly, the corner of his father's mouth stammered and spoke, "Must." Thinking of this, the demon dug further into Maru's subconscious. When that old man disappeared, "How would you feel? If it were me, I'd feel relieved." Unable to let this demon continue manipulating his mind, he frantically slapped his ears. Only when his ears were bleeding and he could hear nothing did he stop. Maru's eyes revealed killing intent as he looked at the speaking demon, shouting, "Stop playing with people's hearts." Yet even knowing this, the demon refused to give up, its mouth curling into a sinister smile. Then it continued speaking with its mouth movements. Witnessing this, Maru could not endure, raising his hand, "As long as I don't hear your attacks, shut up." All the other arm clones of his also simultaneously grabbed the demon, holding it still inside the car. Without hesitation, Maru decided to destroy the entire car while still inside, clenching his hands. A huge explosion roared, tearing apart the car roof, flames blazing. Outside, Cha-na was horrified by the scene, rushing forward, shouting, "Stop!" But immediately, Xianwu grabbed her and pulled her back to prevent her moving aside. When the fire contacted the fuel, an even larger explosion occurred, sending shockwaves outward. The car was crushed, blood gushing out, staining a wide area dark red. Cha-na could also feel the golden sandstorm dissipating, indicating that the demon had died, the yellow smoke disappearing. She could not believe what she saw. The car wreck remained still, and Maru was nowhere in sight. Her face showed fear as she tried to pull the car aside to search. Must quickly get Maru out. But seeing the car wrecked like that, Xianwu felt there was truly no chance left. Too late. At this point he's dead. Cha-na shouted angrily, "No, Maru has a different recovery ability from ordinary people." Even with her hands scratched and bleeding, she continuously pulled away the car debris. If she could get him out before the smoke vanished, he would survive. Watching her refuse to give up, Xianwu began to feel unsettled. With no more time to think, he finally decided to step forward to help Cha-na rescue Maru. He forcefully yanked the car debris, thinking, "Damn it, he's bending his own body, this idiot." Meanwhile, Maru was sinking into another pitch-black space, unable to discern where he was. Though conscious, he could not open his eyes, sitting still. "What? My body feels numb. That noisy Lassat is nowhere. Did I defeat him?" Then in his mind appeared the image of when the demon tried to say something, but what was its final word? To clarify, Maru began reconstructing the demon's mouth movement, "myself." Its final words are letter 1 EAFC Sao. The demon spoke to Maru, "Found you, remember your mission." The more he heard, the more confused he became, not knowing what the demon meant. Mission, what does it mean? While Maru's eyes were still dazed, the demon suddenly screamed, "Wake up!" Those words snapped him back to reality, eyes wide, crying, "Who?" Looking at his own body, Maru felt something inside his stomach trying to burst out. In the blink of an eye, a hand with sharp claws pierced through his stomach, staining his white shirt dark red. It carried a grotesque shape. After piercing his stomach, it began creeping toward him with its two glowing eyes. On its shoulder, there was also a mouth with sharp fangs, a long tongue constantly flicking. Seeing this demon, Maru trembled, drenched in sweat, asking himself, "What is this?" Just then, the grotesque thing bent down, facing Maru directly. Not only that, it could also speak softly, "Do you remember me?" Facing that, he was scared pale, not daring to utter a word. Only now did he realize, this is the thing he had encountered as a child. This demon emerged from the golden dust and approached him on all fours. Its face was different from other demons, eyes like human eyes. Witnessing this, Maru shivered, hiding behind his father, urging, "Dad, a monster, we have to run." But he didn't, instead grabbing Maru by the collar and lifting him up. His face looked terrifying, eye sockets deep, speaking, "No, from now on you must fight it." Maru, scared to tears, asked, "Why? Why is it like this?" He answered, "You must acquire its special Lassat ability, then you can enter hell." Before Maru could react, he straightaway threw him in front of the ferocious demon. Maru's whole body was too scared to sit up, only daring to glance forward, tears and snot streaming. There, the monster waited, mouth full of fangs lunging like a moth to flame. Outside, Xianwu did not hesitate to break a finger of his own, thinking, "Still a little smoke I can use." Luckily, thanks to this ability, the entire hard shell of the car was stripped away. Done, he moved forward, peeking inside to search for Maru. But the scene left him completely despairing. Maru lying there curled up, body deformed, blood continuously flowing. Facing the teammate who had been at his side, now motionless, Cha-na and Xianwu temporarily did not know how to react. His broken fingers trembled in pain. Too late, the golden sand needed for recovery had vanished. He turned away, suppressing the overwhelming emotions within. Cha-na had not given up, sitting beside Maru's body, holding his hand, calling, Maru, can you hear me?" As soon as she spoke, his arm reacted, grasping her hand tightly. Immediately after, something even more astonishing occurred. A golden sand stream rose from nowhere. Impossible, impossible. It turned out the sand was emerging from Maru's nose and mouth. This human-generating golden sand, just like a lassat. When exposed to the golden dust, Maru's broken arm quickly restored. His broken leg also healed, returning to its original shape. Maru's entire body was being regenerated as fast as possible, along with the golden dust continuously streaming from his mouth, streaming from